Good evening, fellow gamers. My name is Jake at Superman Casting Mori. Joined this evening by Ben Juhadre Sorensen, the play-by-play paladin himself. Oh. We're casting.
No, we're not.
No, we're not passing. I'm not even sure if that's a word, but we are casting live from the historic Einar Nielsen Fieldhouse in Salt Lake City at the University of Utah. We're really excited to be bringing you some Pacific Alliance for Collegiate Gamers League of Legends Spring Tournament action this evening. It's UCLA versus ASU this evening in a best-of-3.
And I am super excited. I've been excited about this match since it got announced and we watched the end of our games on Monday. Yeah. I've been thinking about it the whole time. These two teams, they're both undefeated match scores, and it could go either way. Let's be completely honest here. Yep. It's going to be a great series.
Yeah. Coming into tonight, ASU is 2-0 game score, 1-0 match score. Remember, they're all best-of-3. So as soon as you get 2 wins in a series, then you've got yourself a match win. And then coming into this evening, UCLA is actually up 4-2 game score, so they have dropped a couple of games, meaning 2-1 is how they win their best-of-3s, as they'll drop a game each time. But coming into this evening, both of them looking strong, undefeated in the match score. We'll see if ASU even drops a single game tonight, because they're undefeated game score. Only 2 games, to be fair.
Yeah.
We're well into the season now. We'll see a lot more games from ASU over the next few weeks. But how strong are they, Juhadre? Because we haven't seen enough of them yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think we can judge it quite yet, but we have seen the team they've beat play a couple more times. And without being rude, they are not very good. They're very low in the standings. I don't think they've won yet. I don't think they've even taken a single game. Yeah. So it's really hard to tell, especially because it was so long ago.
Yeah, that
it was the
week
first
1,
game.
Day 1.
Yeah, first match of the entire PACG was those two playing. So
yeah,
I don't know.
ASU versus USC. So.
Yeah, so actually, why don't we look at the groups, see who have been playing here. So the PACG is divided into a north and a south region. So why don't we take a look at those schools here in the south that we will be seeing tonight. Arizona University, Arizona State University, UCLA, USC, and Washington State representing the south.
And for the North Division, you got Colorado, Oregon, Oregon State, Stanford, and Utah.
So we saw a lot of the North Division over the last couple of weeks, and like you said, we're going to be seeing more of Arizona State because the South Division is going to be playing through the vast majority of their games to try and catch up to that kind of halfway point going into the playoffs week.
Yeah, so let's take a look at how that overview for the tournament looks. With the group stage coming into the playoffs, you can see we're still in the group stage, the 8 weeks of play. This is week 5 out of 8, where the teams from those divisions we just showed you will play against each other in their groups, right? And then coming into playoffs, which is just in a few weeks from now, it's just that 1 week of play with the quarterfinals, and then the semifinals will be that following week, right? So let's take a look at the standings as they are right now overall for the entire PACG tournament. These top 3 slots are secured pretty well here. Utah, we just saw them take on Stanford. Both of them were 3-0 match score. Now, total 4-0 undefeated. Even in game score is Utah sitting pretty at that #1 slot. And then Stanford in 2nd place.
And that's why I'm so excited to see ASU play tonight, because they may be the only other team with an undefeated even game score if things go their way. But then sitting in 3rd place is Washington State University, another one of these South Division teams looking to make a name for themselves, because they are doing really well here in the tournament.
Yeah, still could be in contention to even overtake Stanford, or if you're ASU, could contend with Utah. You mentioned they're still undefeated with a lot of games left to play. So let's take a look at the matchup that's coming into tonight. It is going to be Arizona State University versus UCLA, and there you can see the game score. That's how many games, singular games, they've won or lost, and then the match score is the total PACG up until this point. And you can see UCLA match score 2-0. That means they've won 2 best-of-3s, but they have lost a couple of games, as you can see in the game score over there for UCLA.
So Arizona State is going to be represented by the following players. Cat on Thy Roof in the top lane. Hi, I'm Bako in the jungle. Death by Zerg in the mid, with Shui at 80 carry and Breezy on the support role.
Yeah, and over there for UCLA, you can see Rebel Riven in the top lane, CDP 98us in the jungle, Batchet in mid, Omewama Shinderu.
You almost had it.
Oh, my goodness. I just can't do it. And who's it called?
Thick Daddy Flex.
Just got to say it like that every time. He's going to be supporting down there in that bottom lane. Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of UCLA. 6 games you and I have casted of them. They look great every time. Even when they lose, they're really close games.
Yeah, and that's what you and I were talking about, who we think is going to win, if we're going to see a 2-0, if we're going to see 3 games. And really the way I see it, if UCLA dominates game number 1, I think that will catapult them into a really quick 2-0. But if Arizona State wins game number 1 or makes it super, super close, I think that spells at least one victory for them, and it's going to continue UCLA's trend of being a 2-1 per match. And there's not much more I can say about it than that.
So you and I were talking before the stream about Arizona State University and what we might be able to expect. There's very little we can predict, right, because there's such little to draw from in terms of games we've been able to see them play. But from what we have seen, Juhadre, talk to me about what you expect to see from them.
So from what I remember doing my research and looking into the game they played against USC, they really like engage-style champions. So when I looked at their match histories, their OP.GG, there was a lot of Camille, Galio, Zach, and Sejuani, those type of things. Even on the bot side, you would see the supports like Alistar. So I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of that coming from Arizona State, which is actually pretty good for them considering the state of the meta right now. Getting the engages and getting the team fights that you want with all the crowd control that those type of picks like to have. But I think that's about it. And it worked really well because USC played a much more backing up and kite assassinate type comp, and it couldn't work. And so I think that Arizona State is going to stick with that strength and stick with those higher tier meta picks, and it'll do work for them.
Yeah, they like to play really aggressively, right? They like to have a beefy front line that can just jump on you even if it's not the perfect quote-unquote fight, right? They just want to fight you.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't know if UCLA is ready for anything like that. They, Thick Daddy Flex, I believe he played Tarek recently. And, that's to stop the engage, but I think that there were other things here. Let's see. Yeah, he played Braum Rakan and Tom Kench. They have a lot of Sejuani. That's really good for them because that can be a steal from Hyan Beko.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know. I think that they've got other things like that they can engage as well, so it might actually be a standoff in styles.
And I think the key factors here for UCLA through the draft, their strategy in game, is all about that bottom side of the map, right? Like you've seen the marksmen do very, very well. I feel bad just calling him the marksman. Shindiru.
Yeah, okay. We'll call him that.
He's been doing so well. And Thick Daddy Flex has done really well on things like the Tarek or like those mitigating engagers.
Yeah, the Braum and the Tom Kench.
Yep, where you're really strong at stopping what the enemy's trying to do, not straight up disengaged champions like Janna or Lulu, but the ones that can get in there, brawl around while trying to control the tempo of the fight.
Yeah, I can see that, and that's something that they're really going to have to do because if you can control the tempo against a team like Arizona State, that means you can control the game.
Yeah.
More than just the fights, you can control the game because you know what Arizona State wants to do. They want to fight. They want to engage. They want to find you. They want to do those type of things. So if you can route that and make it happen on your own terms, that's going to be UCLA's victory path.
Yeah, and I mentioned the bottom lane for UCLA, and that's kind of where their pressure will have to be. I'll be interested to see how the draft goes since we are on 8.5.
Yes.
Right? And that's the change. Their first match win was around this Tristana pick that scaled into late game. But now with Tristana being nerfed to the 525 range in lane, there's a buff to her rocket jump damage, so she gets
never
more,
really use that for damage.
Unless you're doing the all-in engages in a 2v2. Then it actually is quite potent. But I think that depends on, do you actually really want to go with Tristana? She can do okay because she auto-pushes, so her range isn't as punishable unless you have somebody who matches that, so like a Caitlyn. I think if you want to go with Tristana, you ban things out like Caitlyn, like the Xayah, who can match or exceed that range advantage that you're used to seeing from Tristana in the early game that will scale well as well and match the scaling potential of a Tristana. You ban those away so that you're not worried about laning phase being bullied. You know that you can push and that moving forward you can scale into that late game. But on the flip side, I think you need a support pick that helps Tristana engage and all in. Like the Braum, for example.
That one would be really
I don't
good.
think Tom Kench does well. If you're going for Tristana now because of these nerfs, because of how laning phase will be affected by these changes, I don't think you go for this farm to late strategy that you would normally see maybe a couple of patches ago, the banner of commands. You just wait until post 30 minutes and somebody wins the game based on their scaling composition.
So if that's your strategy, you're going to lose to Arizona State.
Yeah, because they
just
fight
flat
you.
out.
They won't let you stall out games. They will fight you, dive you, and brawl you wherever they find you.
Right, and so that's why I think you're bringing up the Tristana is she does have to scale. Even though that was the nerf, she's not the champion you need right now. You need the Caitlyn. You need we saw a great matchup with Utah where they picked Ashe. I mean, pick stuff like that. Pick even Sivir I think might do okay just because it's another aggressive pushing lane.
She at least can push and wave clear and do pretty well not dying. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the Sivir pick. You just pick the full utility bottom lane. If you want to scale, then it's fine. You could pick Janna and Sivir. And, like, if you die as that in a 2v2, there better have been 5 people diving you under your turret or something like that. And you should have made them all use summoner spells. So otherwise, you're doing something wrong with Janna and Sivir.
And so actually, with that type of engaged style, I'm wondering if Varus and Ashe will actually be a little bit more prioritized.
I think Varus would be. I don't think we see the Ashe come through. Not a lot of people are practiced on her. I think that was just kind of a once-off for University of Utah.
All right, that's fair.
But the Varus, highly contested. He hasn't really been affected by many changes recently. He scales really well, still does pretty well in lane, too, and has that extra engage tool that we're used to seeing some teams shift to the bottom lane rather than having it be a necessity from the jungler. Because, like, if you have Varus and he can engage with Chains of Corruption or even self-peel with it, you can have more aggressive jungle picks, like a Kha'Zix.
Oh, yeah. You do have a good point there. And I actually wonder if – I know that ASU's jungler is a Rek'Sai player and a Lee Sin player. So I wonder if the buffs to Nocturne and Rengar.
I would love to see Nocturne come.
Same. Oh my gosh, I would love to see Nocturne.
Yeah.
I've been talking about it since the patch came out that I want to see Nocturne in one of these games.
Yep. I actually was playing some Flex Hue just a few days ago since the patch came out. And for those of you who are locals, U.S. Economy, top laner, jungler, kind of a flex player to be honest, but very high-rated player for your BYU. They're not in the PACG, but a local school here. He's Masters, ELO, and he was playing almost exclusively Nocturne jungle when I was playing with him and having way too much fun with it because you can just super hyper-farm for a while. You're pretty safe against most jungle matchups where you're not worried about getting invaded on. You stay pretty healthy because of the changes to your passive now. It's almost always up. You're healing a lot more. And then level 6, you just get to jump on whoever you actually are like, could I kill him? Yeah. Okay, I'll go for it. Well, if you don't think you can kill him, it's just as simple as don't press R.
Yeah.
And just farm something else.
Well, and it's even better because it gives you a whole extra 2 seconds with that buff to decide if you can jump on him or not. 2 seconds.
It's a long time.
Like, to put that in perspective, that's an Aurelia stun at max level.
Yeah.
That's 2 seconds.
That's a vacation.
Yeah.
In
it's
League of Legends.
huge.
Yeah. So the Nocturne would be really fun to see.
I agree.
Rengar, kind of fun to watch, too. I like seeing the Rengar to, like, have that suspenseful will he pop off or not type of story develop. But honestly, then if he doesn't, I'm like, this is so boring. And then if he does, I'm like, well, this is dumb. Because he just kills everyone, right? Like, you're excited to see if Rengar gets fed or if he doesn't. But if he does, you're like, well, this is dumb. He just kills everyone. And if he doesn't get fed, you're like, well, he's useless. This is boring.
Yeah,
so it's
I
kinda,
can see it. So he's not quite in the healthy state that the changes were trying to put him in then.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That is okay. There are so many other picks that we can
Aggressive junglers, though, you can kind of get in the middle there where you're not full-on assassin, but you are kind of aggressive, something like Xin Zhao or the Rek'Sai, like you mentioned.
Olaf.
Olaf is so strong right now. I actually think he's #1 pick in the jungle, both solo queue, competitive. He is just really good at clearing. He gets very low early, so you have to make sure that you're not being tracked in your own jungle.
Yeah.
But his ganks are really strong, even without double buffs, even without red buff. His ganks are really strong pre-6, and then post-6, what are you going to do if he can actually run at you? Like, nothing. You actually just have to back off if you're not capable of bursting him out.
And that's freaking terrifying is what it is, because he has that true damage built into his kit, and then his ultimate got changed to give him % AD instead of just a bunch of flat.
Yeah.
So you get one... you go Warrior Enchant or grab a Black Cleaver with your Cinder Hulk. That one item that
you can. The other thing that's super powerful is he gets bonus attack speed based on missing health.
Yes.
So he's really good at soloing some objectives, but he also gets scarier and scarier while you're fighting him because the closer you get to killing him, the better he gets at killing you.
Oh, it's
I actually really like the basic full health stacking, essentially. You go health stacking in the jungle. You go Righteous Glory as your first item with Predator Boots. And literally, you have these go buttons just to instantly run at someone. And the only counter, I think, is Jarvan, where you Cataclysm in. And he can just run really fast in circles in kind of the small area. But
we saw Kraydon do that exact thing, actually. And it was almost as fast as, like, a flash, dude. It was insane. He was a...
Yeah. It's like those wind-up cars that you're used to playing with as, like, toddlers.
Oh, yeah.
And you just, like, keep winding them up, and then you're holding it there, and you're like, if I wind up anymore, I'm just going to break this thing. But you know what it can break? The lamp over there. Ready to go. And it just, meow. And that's what Olaf can do. So it's really exciting to see.
Definitely.
Especially if you get fed and you get a few items ahead.
So I think that he's going to be really highly contested. We know that Skarner is still really high up there on the list as well.
He's okay. He got nerfed back to his original stun duration pre-buff, which was a few patches prior. So he's back to kind of being a little stronger than he used to be, but not the #1 draft pick, so to speak.
No, definitely not. So now we've talked about the bot lane. We talked about the jungle. Why don't we talk about one of these solo lanes here and see what we can expect?
Yeah, let's even take a look at the picks from previous matches we've seen from UCLA specifically.
Oh, okay.
In their previous matches here on PACG, you can see when they did play, this isn't Arizona State University, this is versus University of Arizona. They went for, as you said in the jungle, that's Skarner pick, right? That's a really safe but useful jungler, right? Very aggressive if you want it to be, but can also just wait and scales very well. I like that what we're used to seeing in the jungle has been those crowd control ones here for UCLA, and I think if you can get to late game, they will outscale and do a lot better than, say, Kha'Zix and the like, the more aggressive ones, even Jarvan, these ones will do a lot better outscaling if they can survive, if UCLA can survive against ASU's early aggression.
And so that, a lot of that has to be that Zac that will be banned out. We can see right there, the constant ban is the Zac. They don't like fighting it. It's too far engaged, too much just sheer crowd control to ruin whatever fight you're in. Tom Kench being a really safe pick, don't want to have to deal with that. Kled, one of those top laners that will just ruin your day if you let him get ahead. I think we actually, we got to see one Kled in this tournament, did we not?
I do believe we've seen it once. I can't remember if it brought out a victory.
Neither can I. But Kled is actually amazingly strong. Just the fact that he has all that extra health with Skarl. He goes untargetable when he gets knocked off of Skarl and can, if you're just hitting champions, your courage comes back so fast. I actually have a friend who plays Kled consistently, and it scares me. I don't like it. Just the amount of damage you can get with the second piece of Bear Trap on a rope and the engage from charge.
Yeah. So I mean, it is that run at you, right? And it gets really, really scary to deal with. So Olaf does a little bit more of the same. You'd be just as scared, you would think, to deal with that kind of engagement. It's the run-at-you strat. So we mentioned how Jarvan can be an answer, right? He can lock some of those run-at-you dudes down. But is it really that strong? Can it really do that?
Well, even on top of that, is UCLA's jungler comfortable on it? Because
that's a better question, yes.
Just Stanford's jungler was not comfortable on it, and it did them no favors on Monday. So even if it is a good pick, if you're not good enough with it, it is not the right answer. And so we have to look at that also, because we're talking strategies and champions here, but it's all about what these players are comfortable picking. And I wonder if Jarvan is a good option for UCLA's jungler, because he is fun and is effective, but he can also be very detrimental to your team if it doesn't happen right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm really excited. I wish we had more information on ASU, because there's just only the one match we saw them play. Only the one. It was 2 games in total, right? And so I wish there was more to talk about that we could say, oh, yes, we absolutely expect this out of ASU. But when they did play against USC, at least in week 1, it was the first ever match that we did show for PACG. Here's what they did pick. So in game 1, it was Jarvan in the jungle. Their bottom lane was Ezreal Alistar. Death by Zerg played Galio, and he played it extremely well.
Yeah,
near the end, he was like deathless and like almost godlike. So I think you ban that away. And then Cat on the Roof, really clean Gnar play. That was for Game 1. For Game 2, then what came through for ASU, Cat on the Roof played Gnar again, right?
Okay.
So you would expect that to, I guess it's a comfort pick. The Zach was not banned that game, so they did pick it for the jungle. Bako was willing to play that. Death by Zerg got Galio again, so maybe once again, that's the comfort.
Probably
and he
should
does
ban
pretty
it.
well on it. You want to get rid of that. And then down in the bottom lane, Breezy and Shui, they played Saya and Braum.
So those are, we've mentioned now 4 picks that we've talked about would be good for ASU to pick. The Zach, the Galio, Zaya, and Braum. All of those are champions that we have suggested would be good in that draft. So if UCLA has put in even twice as much time as we have in the last couple of minutes to try and figure that all out, then I think that we will definitely see the Zach ban, the Galio ban, and try and force them onto, more unconventional picks, let's say. So it's interesting. No, you know what? Let's choose a different word. It is piquing my interest.
Yeah.
To see what they are going to come up with here, because we do know that UCLA is a good team.
Yes.
You and I have talked about that, looking at their matchups and everything. I believe they are the one loss for WSU, if I remember correctly. So WSU would have been 3-0 had it not been for UCLA.
Yeah, and that went to Game 3.
Yes.
So it was back and forth. It was really close, right? It went to the late game scaling even. So we're about to get ready for Champion Select. We're about to get this underway for you guys. This is Arizona State University. This is going to be their second match ever. You can see they did win their first one from week 1, day 1. That was versus University of Southern California. They did win in 2 very convincing wins, like godlike into legendary killing sprees. For Death by Zerg in Game 1, he was deathless for a very long portion of that game. Might have even made it to the end. I'd have to watch the entire replay, but I do recall at one point he was like 5-0 and 10, right?
I believe when we pulled up the graphic, he was 8-0 and 19 or something.
I mean, it's believable. Where his entire KDA is 10 plus easily.
Yeah,
and then Shui in Game 2 had over a dozen kills on Zaya, no deaths at all. So I mean, you can expect that if they're not locked down, if they're not stopped, they will get ahead, snowball that lead into further and further advantages, and they're not the type that throw it. They're willing to suffocate you, right? That's the difference. We've seen some teams, we see some games come through where teams get ahead. They get maybe 3, 4, 5,000 gold even, up to like 8, approaching the 10K gold mark, but then they're willing to throw it away, just awkwardly getting caught in jungle situations or whatnot. But I expect better out of ASU.
Same here.
Haven't seen them a ton, but we've seen 2 very good games. Like you mentioned, not against the top teams, but, they're up there. So let's read through these very quickly once again. For ASU, in the top lane, Cat on their Roof, we expect a Gnar pick. High-end Bako, very comfortable. Jarvan or Zach, something engaging like that. Death by Zerg, played Galio in 2 games, very strongly. Expect to see either a pick band there. Shui, very good at AD carry, played Ezreal, and then Zaya did very well on both. And then Breezy, very comfortable on a variety of champions. All
right, and then for UCLA, Rebel Riven up in the top side, going to be actually very similar to the namesake there, those engagey-type bruisers. CDP 98us plays some really good Sejuani. Hopefully we get to see that.
Yeah.
Batchet, I know he's played the Corki and other things like that, going to be able to poke and deal some good damage from the mid. Oh my, I'm not even going to try.
You're already dead.
Yeah, I'm already dead. Great 80 carry. Carries insanely well. We've seen the Tristana late game. Hopefully we can see him on a different pick, something like the Varus or the Zaya and carry there in Thick Daddy Flex. He played a magnificent Braum last series we watched, and I want to see that one more time.
Yeah, I'm excited for this matchup. Should be actually a really good series, a really close series, I imagine, between these 2 great teams. ASU haven't shown us too much because they just stomped their last the 2 games that they did win to bring their one and only match win. We haven't seen them since, and it's been a long time. And they've been able to watch, right? They've been able to watch what these different teams are able to do and what their comfort picks are, how the drafts have gone, how the games have gone. So they should have a pretty good idea what to bring as a strategy for both pick and ban and the actual game against UCLA. Speaking of which, here we are into Champion Select, Jihadre. And there is that Sejuani band. CDP 98 is not going to get that very comfortable pick.
Beautiful choice there. Arizona State recognizes, and I looked through my notebook again, and yeah, the last 3 games, all of UCLA versus WSU, Sejuani. No reason to leave that one up. But then, there you go. The answer in the 80 carry position is the Caitlin going out. So we talked about that one, but now
it might mean, right, if you're banning the Caitlin, we talked about this in pre-draft, where you might be banning that because you want Tristana despite the nerfs to her range.
Yeah.
You know that she scales well. If you want to scale, she's a very good pick for that. Tavares can do it too, but you don't want some sort of range advantage bullying you out during laning phase to make it harder to get to that late game.
Yeah.
Arizona State going to say, if that might be your strategy, we don't want you having too easy a time getting there, so they're going to ban away the Janna. I like that ban.
It is a really good ban. But then smart bans over here. The Tom Kench, it is one of UCLA's top ban champions, and then the Galio, the direct target at Death by Zerg.
Well, you got it, right?
Yeah,
if he's having
really
10 plus
to.
KDAs on this champion, and it's a very strong meta champion, you have to get rid of it.
Definitely. But now, Arizona State gets first pick here, and I think that, you know, the most common is exactly that, to pick your 80 carry first so that you get the strongest late game insurance.
Yeah.
To make sure you have a carry capable of doing its job. And now over on the UCLA side, the Braum is locked in for Thick Daddy Flex.
Thick Daddy Flex. He's going to have that very strong pick. This is likely going to be mid lane. It's very unlikely to be the actual marksman for Shadero. Batch is going to be playing the Corki in mid lane. I think that's interesting that they pick that while banning away the Galio, because normally Corki does a pretty good job into the Galio. If you're comfortable on that pick, you want the pick anyway, blind even, I feel like you even just let Death by Zerg have it, unless there's something, unless you really just think it's so strong that you can't handle it. But then you leave yourself open to play against any sort of pick that could do even better into Corki. I mean, Oriana's totally fine in that matchup.
I think Syndra might be good into that too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what Death by Zerg plays other than that Galio when it comes to their competitive strategy. I like now Arizona's draft so far. They have that aggression, right? I talked about this, that if you're going to have the engage in the bottom lane, they didn't go for the Forest, they went for the Xayah, but they bring the engage from their support, and it is the Lover's lane, so that's really strong. And that means you can have an aggressive jungler that doesn't have to be that initiation, the crowd control type that you're used to seeing from players like CDP98us who will play those tanky initiators. I like this pick for Baco.
All right, and so now Kassadin going to be banned out against Death by Zerg. And I think, so thinking logically here, if Galio is a durable frontline kind of assassin type player, then you do want to get rid of the Kassadin and the Oriana here to kind of stifle the typical playstyle of a mid laner that picks those champions. But then I think they read through it and they do ban the Tristana here for Arizona State and the Camille out from the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, now the Varus is still available, to be fair, and the Varus will scale extremely well. The one thing is he's rather immobile, so he is susceptible to those flash grand entrance initiations that can come through from Breezy. There's going to be the Ezreal. I like this pick because it is the mobile one. You can kite back. You now have a lot more poke. I've also mentioned in the past in some other matchups where Braum is pretty good. Normally you like Braum to be paired with Lucian if you're just focusing on that passive. You can really get those double shots to come through to proc concussive blows. But Ezreal is probably your next best bet for that because he can proc, as though it's an auto attack, his Q. It applies those on hit, so it counts to keep the refresh at least there, if not to actually get to the 4th hit that can lock someone down with those concussive blows. So I like that. Oh my goodness. The last lock in. Talk to me about this one, though. The Urgot we're not used to seeing from anyone other than Carlton Danks.
And actually, here's the problem here. UCLA lost when they picked the Urgot.
So they have picked it one time before. They're the only other team, the only other player here, Rebel Riven, is the only other person besides Carlton Danks to pick it, and he didn't do that great on it.
No, he did not win. Had to go up against the Malphite that WSU locked in. And I remember that game. It was pretty silly because it was actually successful enough that WSU locked in the Malphite a second time. But, you know, we're going to have to see if Rebel Riven has put in the practice and has learned from Carlton Danks himself. And actually, we found out it is not immortal on Monday.
Yeah, not
at
all.
So that's got to be solace to Arizona State. I think they got a good matchup into it. That Sion is a good all-around just stay in lane and absorb the CS kind of pick. So whether they pick a carry or a tank, you're in a decent matchup. So I like the Scion lock-in. I'm not convinced about the Urgot. And I also personally am not convinced about the Ezreal.
Why? Tell me why.
Well, I played a game just, when was that? That was Tuesday. That was yesterday. And we had an Ezreal bot lane. We were doing okay. And then at about 30-something-ish minutes, he said, it's over. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, I've been at full build since 25 minutes, and we're still losing. I was like, if you're full build, why aren't you killing people?
Yeah, that's a better question. I think that's more of a player thing.
It's
if
got
you're
to be.
actually full build
It's
at
got
25
to be.
minutes, you should be destroying everyone, especially if you're Ezreal. He's a high burst champion.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So he may have the higher burst, but will he have enough damage to consistently throughout all of the fights be dealing it? Because we've seen some of those higher ranked teams in this tournament and in the CLOL that you and I got to cast, where Ezreal is effective in the mid game, but then come the late, it is just so much better to get more attacks through, more auto attacks, more crits, and it's more consistent than the cooldown is of your Q. So yeah. Personally, I think that the more auto-attacky based champions like Xayah, like Caitlyn, like Varus are going to do better than the Ezreal. But I do also believe if you get the Ezreal ahead and shove and win, our 23-minute magic moment will be the winning point there.
I mean, that's fair enough, Geodre. I like both of these drafts because altogether, Arizona have the tools that we like to see from them, that we expect, right? When do we want to fight? Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, we do. Thanks for asking. And they have the go buttons even on very low cooldowns, right? Death by Zerg, we're used to seeing him on the Galio and doing very well on that. I don't want to say they're the same champion, but very similar tools in the sense that he can show up from very far away, and he can put a lot of threat in an area of effect, right? He can say, back off from me because I am scary. I am willing to show up to fights wherever they are. As long as I'm a few screens away, I will be there, and I will make you afraid of me. That's what the Ryze can do here. Similar can be said, to a degree, of the Scion, where he says, I'm a beefy frontliner, and I will frontline wherever you need me. Just give me a moment. Right?
Yeah, he's got to get
train my way there. So I like that Arizona has looked for a strategy that we're used to seeing from them. We know that they can do well, and the champions are built to do quite that, right? And Shui specifically, the last time we saw him, it was game 2. This was at week 1 of PACG. He was 13-0 when they were cracking the base of USC. This is Shui here on this pick that they first picked for him.
Yeah.
So I expect great things out of them in the bottom lane. But I said I like both these drafts. Here's why I like UCLA.
All right, let's hear it.
They've got the scrappy, really? You think you want to fight us? How about now? Poke you down. How about now? Poke you down. How about now? Arcane Shift away. Valkyrie away. You sure you still want to fight? You sure? Are you sure? Because now you're half health and you still haven't gotten on top of me, right? They are the champions that can do that. And then if you do actually manage to catch them, they can turn things back around. You got Braum, you got Jax, and you've got Urgot. Who better to shred the very little front line that Arizona State does have, right? It has to be that Breezy gets far enough ahead with at least cooldown reduction, if not health and resistances, to be tanky for these fights, or that there's CDR and damage and just AoE threat from Death by Zerg, or the simplest answer being that the Scion is massive enough that he can actually live for long enough to frontline for this team. If not, what is their frontline? What is their team fight? It has to be just the damage threats, right?
Yeah.
Because you have an assassin jungler. Your only source of initiation is within range to get a rune prison, or for Breezy to flash Grand Entrance into the quickness, something like that. What remains to be seen here, Geodre. We're here on to Summoner's Rift. This is ASU's second match ever for PACG here in Week 5 against UCLA. Both of these teams are undefeated in match score. 2 games lost overall in total by UCLA. Will ASU drop a game here in Game 1?
I don't know. We will have to see. I love everything that you were talking about in these drafts. I think you made excellent points. All of them are correct. Great stuff here. We are in a pause. We'll get that back up for everybody in just a sec.
Yeah.
Now that we are paused and have a moment, I do want to bring up one thing about the last thing you said in terms of Arizona State's composition, where you may not have a front line, but your only team fight is damage. To be completely fair, We watched that exact same philosophy knock the University of Utah out of the CELO tournament.
Yeah.
That is precisely what happened game number 1. They grabbed the Kazakhs. They had 0 engage other than the Scion, and they won that game.
Yeah, you have to fight us at some point, don't you? So if we have more damage than you, that should just work.
Yeah.
Right? It's a simple strategy, and it can work if things go that way. I think it's up to UCLA here to actually lock down who they need to lock down and have the vision. Because if UCLA has their way in these fights, what they want to do is kite back, right?
Yes.
But if they're kiting back, they might be kiting away from their best visioned areas. I'm using vision as a verb there, right? If they kite away from their vision, then it's harder to track Kazakhs. It's harder to track the recon engages even. If you're kiting very far away, you have to make sure that you still have the vision control, or at least the game sense, right? Your spidey senses have to be there, ready to know if you're going to get your squishy champions, right? This is Ezreal. He's very squishy. Even if he goes Gauntlet, he's going to be squishy. And the same is true here for Batchet on the Corki. That's a very squishy champion, one who's not even likely to build. I mean, maybe he gets a Maw or something if he's having trouble against the Rise, but he's the only magic damage threat, so maybe not. There's a lot of things that remain to be seen in terms of the build paths, but generally speaking, you have your squishy damage dealers, and if they get caught by assassins or the instant engage potential that ASU has drafted, you're in trouble.
And so another thing we need to bring up is the fact that Scion is the only true tank in the game. It's simply that. He's the only one that is going to build pure tank. Braum, yes, is tanky, and we've seen just how healthy he can be in full-on team fights. But here comes the first engage. The Counter-Strike does go on to Death by Zerg. He flashes, but it is followed by CDP 98 and the Summoner Heal burn. Quite the effective gank here from 98us.
Yeah, that was super clean mechanical play there from CDP 98. The auto attack resets to press the attack procced, meaning there's bonus damage that comes through as the front end and the buffed percent damage amp that comes through there. Batchet able to put a lot of damage down. They get both the summoner spells. At least it's Spellbook Rise, right? He's going to have the unsealed cooldown reduction. Now it's not as, beginning of Season 8 cooldown reduction, but 10% overall. You can already see a good portion of those cooldowns are already back. He should be okay. As long as now he plays to the effect that he has those spells on cooldown, just wait for him to come back. Can't be super aggro. He should be just fine. It's a really good gank, though, because now you have that pressure in the mid lane.
Definitely, and that's one of the reasons you pick the Jax, to try and counter the aggression that will be coming out of the Kazakhs, because that's how Kazakhs plays. You jump in, you get the kill, and that's the effectiveness of a champion like that. So it's really good to see 98us being the first aggressor, trying to make sure that that style that ASU likes to play is being played against them too. Gonna be saying, you can do this, well, so can we. Anything you can do, we can do better is their attitude right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope if you're a fan of that team. But I like this Kazakhs choice here. He's doing really good avoiding vision. Look at the minimap. There's so many wards trying to find Kazakhs, and none of them have. They have a pretty good idea, obviously, of where Kazakhs isn't.
Yeah.
But they haven't actually seen him walk over anything. So that's really good on Baco here to not have gotten caught out by anything.
And this is another reason why Scion is so strong. His base damages are ridiculous. That was a level 2 Q that knocked up Carlton Danks, and look at his hit points. He's been hit by the Roar the Slayer once or twice, but just so much, and good gravy. Look, here it goes again. Oh, he does that. He does dodge it. And, oh, look at that. Rakan
Unsealed Spellbook on Rakan. I actually like the Unsealed Spellbook for support Rakan. The only place you should see Rakan.
Yeah.
Because, and we've seen it in competitive play, both in LCK, it might have been in LCS, I'm not quite sure, but I know it's come through in LCK where you've seen the teleport Unsealed Spellbook, and you have a Rakan, especially post-level 6, show up to fights. It can make a huge difference in those mid-game skirmishes, even late-game catches, but normally you want the flash at the very least. You can go flash ignite or flash teleport with that Unsealed and do pretty well with it. But you can see, in terms of the CS numbers, things are pretty close across the entire map. Not even a full wave in an advantage anywhere. And generally speaking, this is good news for UCLA. They want to get to their core items and then they have the advantage of poking you from afar, getting your health bars low enough that you can't take the fights you're hoping for, then get objectives off of that. So if they can actually control the tempo like they have been doing so far, that's pretty good news.
98ers doesn't have a flash. He does manage to land a stun, but Bako is very healthy. He has the isolation damage. Will this be first blood? The leap strike away onto Rebel Riven, and now the disdain. He just walked right into Rebel Riven. First blood. What just happened?
I think Bako didn't realize that he was fighting a different champion for a little while there.
Oh my goodness.
That was just extremely awkward, to be fair. I mean, that's 120% tunnel vision.
Yeah.
That's surprising to see at this point. That's first blood well earned, question mark?
Yeah, I don't even know. He has flash. He should have just flashed away once he saw Jax. In fact, he shouldn't have even needed to. Just you see Jax jump away. Sion is nowhere close enough to help you fight a 2v2, so you just let it go. You burned his flash. You got the buff. You got everything you needed. You don't need to keep chasing there. That is, like, I think awkward is the exact word to describe that.
That was
just,
really
so
awkward.
good.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a replay as exactly how the first blood happened. That was really awkward. Look, you're getting the invade. The red smite comes through. You're going to take a lot of damage. But he stops the next little engagement. And he has no flash, like you said at this point. Now he's down to 100 health.
Right there.
You lose
Stop
vision.
fighting.
Yeah, you either have to run the opposite direction and you're kind of screwed because you walk into Corki, or you just have to try and run instead of to CDP 98s, you have to run backwards and try and get out through that the way you came in. He gets caught. That's the answer there. He is caught in the enemy jungle. If you can't burst him out, you got to flash. You got to run away. Get over a wall and get away instantly. But he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Mistake.
And that right there puts UCLA now in the driver's seat. We talked about that. How are they going to win against such an aggro run-at-you style? Is to do the exact same thing. Carlton Danks had zero fear other than the fear beyond the grave ultimate that did take him out. It was a beautiful play. You know, you see your jungler in trouble, you jump over there, you pick up first blood for it, and just no answer, no real reason that happened either.
Yeah, and that's really bad news for top lane on this side for ASU because the Sion's been doing okay up until this point. You can see the CS numbers close enough, especially when you're full tank, right?
Yeah.
You got the Bramble Vest, you're feeling okay. Now you should be in a positional advantage when you have the Bramble Vest into a full AD champion because you feel like you can just take the trades, you're not going to take damage, and you return it for free. But because of the first blood just going over for free to Rebel Riven, the Urgot can get that much closer very quickly to his Black Cleaver. That will just shred the armor and say, I don't care that you're a tank. I still will melt you.
And now, that's really scary because we've seen what Urgot can do if used to the full potential as shown by Carlton Danks. But it just, I really want to see Rebel Riven get to that level, but I don't know that I see it because that first blood was all on the back of High-Iron Bako just running in. But now, you know, similar leads here for top lane. Rebel Riven and Batchet in the mid have similar amounts of lead in their lane. So I think that ASU needs to rely on Shui and Breezy because that's where their lead is, and they are quite safe. Still haven't used a single summoner. Breezy has swapped a few, but now Batchet might be in trouble. He just Valkyries away. Takes a decent chunk of his hit points, though.
I mean, he's still winning mid, though.
Yes.
He's up in CS, and Death by Zerg, even with his jungler showing up, he asked to be the one to leave the lane. That was 1v2, Batchet getting away from a gank, not using a single summoner spell, and still saying, sorry, Death by Zerg, you're going to have to TP back to lane or miss out on some CS. That's really strong. The teleport is being used for the Rise, and that means they're going to have positional advantage, essentially, in mid lane. You can see Batchet is already out-rotating Death by Zerg, looking to stop the winning bottom lane from ASU.
They're going to get those Raptors there for 98us, and then he's going to go ahead and back. He's got some gold, finish up that Cinder Hulk enchantment. But yeah, Batchet doing a lot of work here. He's got the Sheen, that's the bonus damage. Tyr is stacking on Rise, though. I think I'm going to say it again, that Magic 23-minute mark is where we're going to be able to determine who's going to win the game just by the way these guys are playing, because the leads in the top and mid are decent enough, especially with the lack of presence we've seen from High and Baco. And, you know, they're going to be winning for a bit. But on the other hand, I do believe that their composition is strong enough to come back from it. So it's a really tough one for me. I don't like predicting it.
I mean, it's a little early now to predict who could win this game overall. It's pretty close. I mean, it's just 800 gold that separates these two teams, 700 gold or so. And to that end, ASU hasn't been able to snowball what their composition is meant to do, which is take those fights early and often and always. And UCLA is looking pretty confident. They get a free first blood in the top lane. They're still keeping the CS numbers close, if not ahead, across the board, and catching out. When ASU started that Inferno last time, they caught him doing it. This is bad news for UCLA if they don't catch him once again. Death by Zerg trying to play down towards that side to give a little bit more safety to this. But the Kha'Zix, now with his bottom lane, now with mid lane, they're going to get an early Inferno. That's good news for ASU, because what do they want to do? Deal damage. What does Inferno help you do? Deal freaking damage. So that's really good. Mountain is next. We'll have to see which team can pick that up in just a few minutes.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful play, because they stopped them, and then I believe UCLA actually had priority on it. Was it them? So the last time we saw the
priority on it because of the vision play, because they splatted out the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix has to leave, jump over, and now he has no way to contest it if they decided to go for it. Would have been a little risky, I think, to actually have UCLA go for the Infernal when they did cause Kha'Zix to leave it. But that's only because they don't have their top laner. Their top lane is where you're strong right now. You're kind of just even, if only slightly behind in your other lanes. And generally speaking, you're not going to win against a recon engagement in the river.
No, definitely not. It's just too narrow, and he is so fast with that ultimate, and the radius of the circle of the jump. Ooh, wow. It's too much.
Yeah, plus, this is the Gauntlet build. When you're just sitting on tier Sheen for damage and spell potential on the Ezreal, you don't actually do a great job matching the damage in full-on team fight or full engagement situations of a BF sword double longsword Saya, right? She's going to have her damage amped, more damage coming through from the Recon. The synergies there will do well. That's just more damage on every single auto attack when there's really like zero bonus AD. Unless you have some elixirs, other than the Dorans, that come through for the Ezreal. So the Ezreal's just not going to do as well in team fights. So you just can't take full-on engagements if you're UCLA yet, because you want to poke them down first. But this could be a gank in the top lane.
Cat on thy roof is pretty safe here. 98 does start the counter-strike. He has a booba, so it won't matter that much. Nice unbreakable there from Big Daddy Flex. He's going to stop a lot of damage on that turret. It doesn't sound as good when I do it.
It's still fun, though, right?
It is fun, but it doesn't sound as good. But they stop a lot of damage on that turret.
Not enough, though.
No, definitely not, because Shui and Breezy are still on the push. Look at all of this. This turret is not long for this world at all. In fact, I think it's down right here.
Yeah.
Blue team.
That is going to be first brick. Now 14.5 minutes into the game in favor of ASU. That's really good news for ASU fans because they want to snowball. That's what their composition is very good at doing. Get a gold lead and then crush it from there. Whereas UCLA, they should have probably been taking Herald at this point. They should have answered. They said, if we're not going to answer that, if we're seeding bottom lane this simply, we need to take something somewhere else. But they didn't. They didn't take Herald, and so what are you doing now? You're just recalling? Sending your duo top lane is a better idea because now you're at least going to match it and delay or at least slow down ASU's strategy where you send the duo top lane now to take another turret. But if they're already losing the 2v2, there needs to be something else for UCLA.
Well, and they were in position to do it. Look, that Scuttle Crab, it's relatively fresh. It's losing its
they had control of the top side,
They had
no
everything. And, you know, the way Urgot is as a champion, you totally could have just shoved the lane and gone with 98 and got it. And even though you do lose it, you're still in time for the rotation, plus you get the Herald. I think you're exactly right. That's just not opportunistic enough from UCLA.
Yeah, the best thing that UCLA could do right here is to press that 2v2 and with as many members as possible, try and pick someone off, right? Try and bait them into a fight, use vision to their advantage. Because, look, ASU has full control of the river and the bottom side pretty deep. Jax has been seen. They know where Jax is. So now you're in 0 position to try and fight top lane. So what do? You're in trouble if UCLA. In terms of strategy, you're getting outplayed in every single part of the map. The vision is there for ASU. The gold is there for ASU. The first items are completed for ASU. They're trying to just get the macro to happen. I mean, what did I say? ASU, get your advantage, snowball it, and don't ever stop, right? So I want to see Baco still going for this. He thinks he's out of vision, but there's still that pink in the river. Death by Zerg going to stop Rebel Riven.
He's going to deal decent amounts of damage. Rebel Riven pops the W, wanting to deal some damage. But, you know, they just disengage. They were in a really good position there. The control ward going to go down. He's going to break him. But Batchet does manage to kill the ward himself. So, you know, forcing the hand of UCLA. And look, Sion gets a huge push. He's going to get a decent chunk on that Tier 2 turret as well.
Yeah, I mean, UCLA did stop the Herald from happening right then and there. But the cost was a few waves on the Tier 2 bottom lane turret. You're missing all of that gold and experience on Rebel Riven. He was supposed to be the one to maybe carry UCLA's early game, but he's been quiet ever since being gifted that first blood.
All right. Now, 98us is trying to find a spot to fight, because just like ASU, that's how you play Jax. You need to fight. You need to start him, get that press the attack, get the stun from the counter-strike. But it's just, it is not happening. Death by Zerg, full mana right now, sending Batchet back at nearly empty. Check out this wave clear. Sion is just so strong right now. Like, it drives me crazy. I love playing it, though. I picked up the Sion recently, and it is a blast.
So the good news, at least for UCLA, is that this Sion pick is going full armor. Yes, he has some health in his build, but he has no magic resist yet. Meaning Corki, who has now completed Triforce and Sork boots, he will actually deal a lot of damage to the front line here from ASU. So that's at least somewhat good news. But the Mountain Drake is spawned just now in the river, and UCLA is at least considering fighting for it. Remember, the 2v2 is topside right now. Neither one of them can really show up. There's no teleport even for Breezy on Rakan. But here's lane priority. Do you push this and start walking down, or do you continue the aggression up here because you know Ezreal's out of mana? Either one's a pretty good option from ASU. They just don't actually want to give anything away for free. Okay, it seems that's exactly what they're doing, though, which is bad news for ASU fans. They're just losing a dragon when they should have full control.
Yeah, they really should have. But package is waited out. I think that was the biggest reason they didn't go for it, is because they knew that Corki still had the package. And it expires the moment that Drake goes down. But I agree with you. It was just waiting and waiting and waiting. But because they do that, they are going to get another turret. And this is amazing news for ASU fans. Superman, there is only one kill, and we are 19 minutes into this game.
Yeah, it's been actually pretty clean macro play from both these teams. That's a 2-0 turret lead in favor of ASU, and they're the early game comp, right? That's what you want. They will scale very well, don't get me wrong. But what they want to do is be taking fights, or if you don't fight them, they will outpush you. They will get those turrets, which is what they've done so far. Now, what I disagree with from ASU is seeding a dragon. You can get that turret at will, top lane. I think when you get that early push pressure, you just start walking bottom lane. And if UCLA still goes for the dragon, even though they have somewhat superior vision, they'll lose a 3v5. So just go for it if you're ASU. Luckily, UCLA says, well, they're not doing that, so why don't we actually get something relatively free? They do. They did have the vision, so kudos to them for setting that up ahead of time and going right on that respawn timer. It does give them a mountain, which would spell good things for them trying to answer the global gold, right? Trying to actually take those neutral objectives and the structures. But the bad news for UCLA is ASU, they've got items over you and the pressure to boot. Now you have to worry, if you're a UCLA fan, will they actually get to the point where their quasi-skirmishy pick composition will do enough to survive the front-end chaos that ASU's team fight will bring?
I want to bring attention to Rakan's first item here, the Zeke's Harbinger. That is not an Ardent Sensor.
No, it's very aggressive.
It's hugely aggressive. Grants damage. Percent damage to your partner, and on who else but the Xayah with a completed Essence Reaver, that is going to just rip right through everything in these team fights.
Yeah, the good news is that they at least have that tanky front line. Jax is getting closer to that Triforce to be somewhat of a damage threat as well, but he does have the Cinder Hulk for the jungle. And with Black Cleaver completed, you're not as worried that Sion's full tank because he'll actually still take a lot of damage.
All right, looks like 98us is here. Is that a flash burn? It is not. It is just extra range on the Battle Dance from Breezy. Now, the disengage came out, but I'm thinking 150, 200 hit points left on that turret. Breezy and Shui are doing amazing work this game in terms of turrets. The smite does give the Scuttle Crab to 98us, even though Cat on Thy Roof was there.
It was close.
It was very close. Interesting thing that everyone probably knows now because they announced it in LCS a long time ago, but if you knock up or stun the crab, it reduces its armor and magic resistance significantly.
Yep.
So Cat on Thy Roof just doing him a favor, even though smite is true damage.
Yeah, just helping to leash, essentially. Yeah. Not a huge deal, though, because the dragon was already taken. The scuttle down there is really just gold on the map, golden experience.
This is going to go down.
Yeah, it is. This is the last outer turret. Now, I want to take a moment for us to take a breather in terms of the macro and double-check ASU. What have they done so far? They've taken all outer turrets. This is where things actually get kind of difficult if you're not absolutely smashing, 8+, 10+ thousand gold lead, because you can't just fight everywhere always because it's too expensive in terms of resources, in terms of even gold spent on control wards to get vision on the entire map, the entire enemy jungle. But now that you've taken all outers, you have at least the option to invade very safely and set up vision very safely for regions of the match, right? You can take sections away from them, and it looks like Baron, we're approaching, what minute? 23 minutes. We're at that position where, Johadre, you like to say it, where this is when the teams either do or die when it comes to Baron.
Missed. All right, looks like Batcha is here with the package, ready to start a fight. Now, this is amazing, a great time to be watching this match because they had no idea that it was literally just Breezy zoning them off of the Baron.
Yeah.
Getting the vision. That it was one champion. And that speaks to just the amount of control that ASU has right now in terms of the map, the macro, the vision. It's all of the entire top side, all of the bot side, completely dark.
Yeah, it is. And so at least for UCLA, they're not super worried about losing the map because they have that extra vision they just cleared out too. But, I mean, look at these inventories. If there's a 3,000 gold lead or so, 3,500 in favor of ASU, what are they spending it on? They have 2 core items each, essentially, at this point. But look at all those control wards. There is a grand total of 7 out of 5 players. 7 control wards. And that's just a pick in the jungle.
All right, Beko getting revenge here, losing first blood because of a chase on 98us, and then getting a chase onto 98us for the second kill of this game, 24 minutes in.
15 minutes to finally kill the Jax. But I want to once again mention, the vision spells out the story here for these two teams. UCLA has to stop bleeding objectives on the map. Here's the next one. It's going to be another Inferno, the second Inferno going over to ASU. And look at the vision, right? There's some there from UCLA, but it just got stolen away because your jungler died. You can't even contest this dragon.
No, you can't, and we have to watch up in the middle side. Flash is burned by a Rebel Ribbon. There's a fight in the mids, but that Drake definitely goes down. Here we go. No! He got the snipe Rebel Ribbon! What is the range on that?
Whatever it is, that looked like max range. And if it's not max range, we're calling that a global from now on.
Oh my word! Death beyond the grave.
Do you go for the Baron? I think you do. I mean, 24 seconds on the Xayah. She's one of the strongest members. You actually have a really beefy composition. You have members who can tank this. and you know that they just took the dragon. Maybe that means no smite. Maybe that means they're low on the other side of the map. They're going to be looking for this. This is the ultimate coming through. Cat on their roof. Scion is open.
Okay, the jump in from Kha'Zix. He does not manage to get it. That goes the way of 98us, but now the fight is really close. Step by Zerg is almost dead. He gets saved by Rakan. Batch's going to get knocked up. Step by Zerg picks up a kill. There's the quickness. Cat on my roof is going to be dealing damage, but he is straight tank. He gets stunned up and gets killed. Rebel Riven on a killing spree now. 98 is going to crowd control it up, and UCLA gets the turn of the century in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they got the Baron, and they're down 1,000 gold still. They're willing to sacrifice one member. So, I mean, that's crazy. Let's take a look at what happened mid just before this. You can see, it's the fight. They want to engage because they think that they can catch Rebel Riven alone, but he flashes away. Nice Arcane Shift into heal, saves his life. And then Shui gets low enough, he uses the Featherstorm, and boom! From 1,500 range, he gets the snipe. Rebel Riven gets a kill. 3-0 now on this massive Urgot pick. And they've got the Baron, too, on everyone but Batchet. Corki doesn't have that because he did die in that Baron fight, but it was the nice smite that did come through from the Jax. He's able to get the Baron for his team. And now it's even less gold that separates these teams. And with a turret falling too, it's still just a 1,000, less than 1,000 now.
So every team, since I was correct on the timing, has decided to make a liar out of me. But then, man, just this game hates me. It won't let me call any plays, won't let me call any timers, because the moment we leave these two alone, Shui and Breezy, they not only take a turret, they get a kill onto Batchet, the only member without the Baron buff. I don't think that was wise placement. Oh, but there might be yet another one here. The flash away.
Ooh, that's a good heads-up play there.
Yes.
Duro. If you don't flash there, you're dead.
Definitely.
You can see where he used to be, even where he arcane shifted to, was right where they wanted him to be. It's a lot of front-end burst damage that can come through from a Kha'Zix that's coming out of stealth. I mean, let's take a replay. Batchet died again. Right? This was just a few moments ago after the Baron. He shows up to try and stop a siege, but the Ghost into Grand Entrance with the quickness, he just dies 100 to 0. There's so much damage from the Xayah Rakan combo. You gotta respect that. He didn't even cleanse in time.
No, not even close. But would it have been enough? He may have been able to cleanse the charm, but it would have been right into the knockup, 3 feathers into the root. I don't know if he would have even been able to get out.
Cleanse flash, and it has to be instant. Captain Jack style. You have to be able to be so fast.
That's an old name.
Yeah, it's
I
a
like
long
it.
time ago.
Good stuff. All right.
You guys can look it up on YouTube.
Yeah. So now it looks like UCLA is in their prime position to start winning this game. They are down that 2,000 gold, but look at it. Since they got the Baron, they have taken 3 turrets. That is really good. But Breezy here, just trying to get some vision, walks face first into everything. He gets stunned up. He gets hit with the package. Now Batchet is in the middle. Shui going to deal a lot of damage. Rebel Riven jumps in with that disdain. Big Daddy Flex is going to go low. I'm Bako is on the front line, throwing the feathers. A kill now to Shui, and somehow ASU come back with 3 kills after their support just blindly gets murdered.
Yeah, I want to take a replay at that fight because what happened there was, yes, Breezy gets caught, but they use so much onto Breezy that there's really not much left to deal with Xayah. And Xayah actually used a perfect Feather Storm, you'll see in this replay, to dodge out the damage from Rebel Riven, and then the split fight is beautiful for ASU. You can see, they use ultimate after ultimate and the package, everything. Okay, they got Breezy, but now Batchet has to run away from Shui. They regroup, then watch the split fight after the crits start coming through. Shui backs up, takes a lot of front end first, but dodges 2 skill shots with the Feather Storm. And now when the fight splits up, they'll chase down Urgot, and the flash forward for Shui is plenty. They make it up to the bottom, the top side of the map, no problem, because they have all that. That ends up being shutdown gold going over to Shui. He's really strong. He's now got 3 core items. Yes, the same is true of Ezreal, 3 core items, but wouldn't you rather have a 3-core item Xayah, who has a Rakan, who has Zeke's, rather than just the blue build Ezreal, who's trying to deal with assassins? Of course you would.
So in addition to that, we do see the Knight's Vow coming out. A lot of extra armor to help deal with the Urgot, with the Jax, with the Ezreal. And it's actually really interesting the amount of mixed damage UCLA has on their comp right here. Corki, Jax, and Ezreal. that's all mixed damage.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is mixed damage. You can see Corky, he's now getting closer to that critical strike chance. That's important because you need that magic damage to do a lot in these fights. There's so much armor on Cat on the Roof, and while we haven't been talking about him, he's now completed an adaptive helm, so he's going to take even less damage, even from Patchet, who's the magic damage, the sole magic damage threat. I mean, there's some that can come through from Ezreal. His spells, a lot of them deal magic damage, but generally speaking, he's just going to be hitting you for physical. So Cat on the Roof is a really beefy frontliner. He only died the one time so far.
Superman, this is a triple Infernal Drake for Arizona State University. And here comes the ultimate from Rakan. The quickness going to get decent engage here. Thick Daddy Flex throws up Unbreakable.
That's a lot of cooldowns.
Yes.
ASU did get the Drake, but they just used the quickness, and that's really, really important for their engage. Yes, there's a lot of cooldown reduction on Breezy here for that pick, so he should have it shortly, but he doesn't have Flash. It's very hard to initiate without those spells all there for you because there's not much else to initiate for you other than the Scion, but he goes way beyond your team.
Yeah.
Right? You can't really do a great job following up unless you have more. So now, if you're looking at UCLA, they should be in an okay spot to kind of take a breather for a moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is going to be a little bug here on Rebel Ribbon's ultimate because there would have been no reason for him to cast it in the last fight. The Braum ultimate was used, and I'm pretty sure the Jax went. There we go. We do switch over. That is still good to go. That was a weird little bug there.
There's a lot of awkward bugs we seem to find.
Yeah, since 8.5 has brought a lot of them on here. But now, 32 minutes, 6 kills to 6 kills, 7 turrets to 3, triple Infernal Drake. ASU may not have been able to snowball immediately like we're used to seeing them doing, or rather we presume that's what they wanted to do. But they are now at the point where even without that Mountain Drake that they lost, they're probably going to shred this Baron when it spawns. But they need to be careful. Breezy's in an awkward position here in between 3.
Oh, he's got his team to back him up, though. He's super confident to clear out this vision. And when you've got the Zyra, that's just way too much damage.
And Bako.
Batchet just isn't used. What I'm seeing here, what I would interpret this as, is Batchet is not used to playing Corky from behind. He's used to being able to fight even a Kha'Zix. Say, yes, you can get on top of me, but I'm not going to die instantly. In fact, I'll make you probably scared that you die to me because you're squishy too.
Cat on my roof is going to try and stop 98us. The flash forward. Braum gets it with the Q. The kill goes over to Bako. Thick Daddy Flex throws down the ultimate. Realm Warper's on its way. He's going to get the root onto Thick Daddy Flex. No, instead, it's the Scion ultimate, that unstoppable onslaught, chasing on to Omewa. And they are jumping in, going to get the slow from the Void Spikes. He is not going to be long from this world. He is so peely and fast. They do manage to get him. But, again, that is a Baron buff over to UCLA. Will Arizona State be able to take the inhibitor?
Yeah, I mean, they got 4v3 right now, even 5 if they can bring Kha'Zix there with a little bit more help. They should be able to still pressure this.
Wow.
Forces the cleanse.
Forces the cleanse and the package. That's an inhibitor. This is backwards Superman. What team got the Baron again?
UCLA. They stole it away. It was Braum. Let's actually take a look at it since the recalls will come through. Let's take a look at the replay. Watch the Braum Q. The Winter's fight for this steal.
Look at the damage. That triple Infernal Drake is dealing so much. Breezy is not going to be able to block it, and that Winter's fight, it was a cold, hard steal onto the Baron. Amazing play coming out of Thick Daddy Flex.
Yeah, Thick Daddy Flex. He gets the steal, and look at that clean play. Yes, Shindero's going to get caught no matter what he does here, but Thick Daddy Flex actually saved his own life and made it take this long for them to catch Shindero. So, pretty good stuff from them. Yes, they lost the inhibitor because they didn't have the inhibitor turret coming into that play, but now they're in full control. They're the ones with Baroned up minions. They should be fine. I mean, this is crazy. The 2 Barons in this game, Juhadre have gone over to UCLA, essentially stolen, right, for them. And now, triple Infernal ASU, who's up in overall gold, the ones who never got a Baron so far, they're somehow winning. They're in map control, even with the Baron buff here for UCLA.
So, a lot of people talk about what inhibitor is the most important. And to be honest, it's the bottom inhibitor because it's the one farthest away from the Baron. That gives you a good opportunity to win. But if that's not the goal, then which one is the most important? I can test the top because we are at 35.5 minutes, only 1.5 minutes until Elder Drake spawns.
Yes.
For the triple Infernal, ASU will just demolish everything in their path if they're able to get that. Oh, wow, okay, that was kind of awesome, just throwing the Void Spikes there.
I mean, you mentioned that Elder's the next thing on the map. The Baron buff has now expired, so they don't actually have that any longer. They should still be pretty good. They've got a lot of wave clear between the Ezreal and the Corki, so it's actually hard for ASU to siege without Baron buff. But you mentioned that the Elder will come through. Triple Infernal, get that doubled up. That's you have almost plus 50% bonus AD and AP. And death cap on Rise here.
Oh,
I would love to see
wow.
exactly how much AP he does have, bonus AP. That would then get augmented by another 50% almost by an Elder Dragon. Like, that would just be insane, Jihadre. And it's likely to happen, right? It's likely that because they've already got the topside inhibitor, that they'll be able to secure vision on that bottom side of the map over the next minute or so and secure that Elder Dragon.
To be fair, though, UCLA has pulled out the ridiculous steal with
They have.
a Winter's Bite Baron steal?
It's the plus 10% bonus true damage.
All
man.
right, all right. That
I mean,
Mountain Drake.
Big Daddy Flex, man. He's got it.
He's
and
gotta
maybe
have
he
it.
will get it once again. Here we go. 5 seconds until the Baron, the Elder Dragon spawns. Might as well be a Baron. It is more important than Baron at this point. The Baron
Yes,
has
it
been
is.
met both directions,
Oh.
but they're going to start it right up. Look how quickly they're able to do it. Down
But
to
now-
half health.
Here it is. Big Daddy Flex is here. The ultimate from Ezreal goes out. 98us wants to jump in and snipe it, but no. There it is. The jump in, the kill, the flash now with the quickness. He is going to land it on to Batchet, and the blast cone gets his entire team in range. ASU with this damage is going to melt everything.
Rise has almost a 900 ability power right now, and we're only 37.5 minutes in. This is like a 20-0 full build type of ability power right now, and he's actually recalling, probably looking for an elixir. He's going to teleport in as soon as that hits the turret.
Oh,
Very
yeah,
sweet.
there it is. They do have a banner minion, which is good news for them as well. They are going to demolish this turret, but look at that. The ultimate just pops the Guardian Angel on Bako. That means he's just going to leap right out. Rebel Riven is landing those, but it is not enough to save their base. They are down 2 inhibitors and a triple stack Infernal Elder Drake. ASU is in the driver's seat of this party bus, and there are no questions about it.
God, look at what the 1,500 damage crits, and she only has 4 items. This is so insane. Now, the top lane inhibitor should be responding shortly for UCLA, so they should only have to defend open mid that
Yeah.
will have those super minions pushing. There's no Baron buff yet. A minute and a half till it spawns for ASU. And it looks like they're going to be, yeah, look at this ability power. That's so insane. The Rise is huge. He's now past 1,000 ability power, 1,012 for the next little bit until the Elder gets off there. Oh, my goodness.
Almost 600 attack damage
That
on
is so
Shui.
much. And that's without a Janna giving you bonus
Yeah.
AD from some sort of shield or craziness like that. I like this choice, though. They're pushing the bottom side of the map, the last side available. ASU has to break the last part of the base, maybe look for this fight. They want to do this while they still have the buff. Only about 40 seconds or less, 30 seconds or so for this Elder. It's a triple Infernal. That's so much bonus ADAP and, of course, bonus burn.
Oh,
The
true damage burn, baby.
If there wasn't enough fire from the Zeke's pick and the red buff that Shui has on him, wait until you get crit for 1,400.
Gosh, dang it.
And for
it
true
is
damage.
so real. Now, the root goes down onto Rebel Riven, and there's that damage we were just talking about. Breezy picks up that one. Batchet does have the package, but the moment he goes in, he is going to die. This is the inhibitor for 3, it looks like. Just so much damage coming out of ASU. They have the bottom. They have the banner minion that just died, but they're just going to run up and grab that inhibitor. The buff is down, so it's going to take a little bit longer.
This is the only window, if there's even a conceivable one, was just
Nope.
there when they go for that next inhibitor.
Oh,
when
he barely got it.
Yeah, I mean, they get off. Everybody leaves. Nice realm warp, and now they're just straight onto the Baron because they have time to do it. There's no way for anybody to get here. Ezreal ultimate is available, but won't come through. He's going to be using that for wave clear for the next few minutes, Jihadre.
Yeah.
Baron has come through right after the Elder. has worn out. Man, ASU full control in this late game. We're now 40 minutes into game 1 between ASU and UCLA. There's still that triple infernal, Chuhadre, and Death Cap, Infinity Edge, these massive, expensive items. 1,800?
Without the bonus from the Elder. That was disgusting. But now, here, Superman. Some Elos like to triple lane here. Why do you 5-man in one lane?
Because if you force them to respond to you, the supers do the work for you in other lanes, especially with Baron buff. If you can wait until all those lanes slowly approach the base, and then you're fanned out and ready to take fights in their base, you're Baroning up double super minions in every single wave. You could basically sit back and chuckle, evil laughter, while you just watch the minions do everything for you. Yes, there is the Mountain Drake, but that doesn't help you clear waves. That doesn't help you do anything. Look at this. There's a 4 super minions.
Oh, huge. Disdain going on to Cat in my room. But is that a stopwatch I see on Rebel Ribbon? It doesn't matter. Shui gets Thick Daddy Flex. Batchet is going to go down here. Oh, Mewa goes down to the ace just before the win. 41.5 minutes. And look at all those minions. ASU take out UCLA for game number 1.
Chuhadre. That hurts.
It does hurt. I think I felt it right here from that far away.
Yeah, we're used to seeing UCLA be the ones to just trash those late game team fights and shred their enemies. But they get a little taste of their own medicine right there.
Yeah.
The late game 40+ minutes. Baron, right? That's the bonus Baron,
oh,
too.
Yeah. That's right, because it is past 40 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
Huge.
And the Super Elder, the Super Baron, the Super Win came through there for ASU. What a crazy amount of damage they were able to put out in that game.
Now, I am most excited because we saw exactly what we talked about, what we expected from the team comps.
Yeah.
Not quite what we expected in early game, but the champions don't change. The strategy did not change. They wanted to fight. They got the fights. They got the win, and they got so much damage.
Yeah, ASU,
I don't think we can say that enough.
ASU got exactly what they wanted in draft, in laning phase, in early game, in mid game, and in late game for sure. I mean, you could probably 1v5 as Zaya when you have, if you were sitting on triple Infernal Elder buff,
yeah,
plus post 40-minute Baron buff, and you have 6 items. Like, have a QSS. You're both your summoners. If you're an 80 carry main like Diamond Plus, you're probably 1v5 with that kind of damage.
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
nasty.
It was nasty.
It might as well have. And when you take 5v5, you saw it was just a trounce. They just completely annihilated them 5-0 on the Nexus. So congratulations, ASU, but it's not over yet. That was just game 1 out of a best of 3. We're taking a short break, coming right back for game 2 between University of California, Los Angeles, and Arizona State University. Don't go anywhere. PACG returns with more League of Legends action after a short break.
inside. Just look and wait down below. And if I can't hold my breath, then I'm bound to become hollow. Can you say that I disappeared? Can you say that I wasn't there for you when you went into hiding on the front steps of your porch? And I reflected on the memories, but I put out that torch. Hey!
Welcome back, college esports fans. My name is Jake at Superman Casting Mori. Casting alongside this evening is Ben Juhadre Sorensen, the play-by-play paladin himself, as I like to call him. We're very excited for Game 2 this evening. This is UCLA versus ASU on the Pacific Alliance of Collegiate Gamers League of Legends Spring Tournament. I am excited. Week 5 action is explosive.
You can't even describe it as anything else. It was fire and fury everywhere.
Yeah.
The triple Infernal Drake with the Elder. We calculated all of it. It was just insane. And ASU coming ahead with the victory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason not to jump right into Champion Select.
Neither do I.
Because this should be a crazy level in Game 2. I mean, triple Infernal. You just mentioned it was fire and fury. Triple Infernal will do that for you. The burn that came through it, there was just so much damage that Arizona State was able to get. Now they're on red side. Maybe that's the color of fire. Maybe that's telling us something. It's their color, too, as their school colors.
I mean, maybe. That might just be it. Or it might be the good luck charm because it is their school color.
Maybe. But for UCLA, they have got to ban Zaya.
Yeah. Well, see, you say that, but what if they just pick it on their own rotation?
They can. They are blue side, right?
Yeah.
But if they're not planning to first pick it,
then
they
you gotta
better
ban
it away. And probably Recon too, right?
Oh, well, so they talk about it a lot, how Zaya is a good standalone AD carry, whereas Recon is not nearly as good without Zaya. So I actually don't think, so if you're going to pick the Zaya, then there's no reason to ban the Recon. But Arizona State might say, we don't want you to play Zaya, and so they might ban it.
That's a good choice. You ban it away, then nobody's really interested in their con anymore.
And there it is, the Zaya ban. Everything else looks pretty similar, except I don't know what this Twisted Fate is all about. The last time
Luffy
it was going to
is subbed in here, right?
Oh, that's it. That is exactly probably it. As I contradict myself in my adjectives. But, however, the Camille lock-in is pretty intense. Rebel Riven is going to do a lot of good work on that champion. We saw not nearly as flashy of play on the Urgot, but with Camille, maybe that might be a different story. And I'm excited for it. I love Camille.
It's been a while since we've seen one come through that popped off.
Correct.
Not all of the ones that we have seen for PACG games have been poor picks or done poorly. Some have, some haven't. But it's been a while since I've seen a Camille take over the game. Now, it should be a strong pick into the Varus, but UCLA is comfortable picking this, right? It is one of Rebel Riven's top most played champions, but you know what's available here for Batchet that you normally would have seen come through in mid for Arizona State?
That would be the Galio.
The Galio! And they do pick it up. Although I do absolutely like the jungle pick here from Arizona State University. Nothing would fit their style better, I would say, than the Olaf pick.
The Olaf, you and I talked a lot before getting into game number 1 about jungle picks, and actually you and I had a very pleasant conversation with the coach for the University of Utah about that specifically, about the jungle matchups, because there were so many changes and what they were able to accomplish on Monday. And Olaf is exactly an Arizona State pick.
Yes, he is. The last pick that came through from UCLA, Shindero's very good at Tristana. It's done things, it's won games for them in the past.
Yes.
But I don't actually see it as safe enough, both in laning phase and scaling, yet. Janna's banned out. They banned it out. I think you have to ban Lulu against UCLA.
I agree.
So that they don't get to get that champion. If you leave it open, UCLA jump on that pick. You need it. You need it to come through so that you can have Tristana be that late game hyper carry and be safe and relatively healthy through laning phase. Otherwise, you're in big trouble. So the Lulu, I think you have to ban it. You have to ban it if you're Arizona State.
That, or you pick it for your Varus. That would be a good way to go about that, I would think. But I think you're right that it cannot be paired with the Tristana. There's the Taric ban, not a bad one because of the way his ultimate works, but
pick ban it away. Right now, there are so many of those late game safety supports that are gone. You have to now take it. You have to take it if you didn't ban it. Arizona didn't ban it. They get the first pick of the second phase. So I think you're right, Giorgio. They have to take it away since they didn't ban it.
All right, not seeing that. UCLA bans Malphite there as the last resort. Last ban is there. They're trying to save their top laner, giving Rebel Riven a good matchup, taking away the counters there. But I really do want to see the Lulu. It is Cho'Gath instead going to be up against the...
really strong.
Yes, I believe the words you said were free win.
Just about, yeah. Tristana going to do pretty well if you can. You're going to have the space, right? Late game, you're going to have the late game draw a bead range. So you're going to be safe, generally speaking, other than from like some amazing TP flank.
Yeah.
But in team fights, you're going to be safe from the Cho'Gath specifically. You're mostly going to just be dealing with Olaf. But when I say free win Cho'Gath, it's that you just stack health and resistances on this guy, and what do you have? Hundreds and hundreds of true damage on your ultimate late game. You just get to delete either a frontliner or if a backliner gets too close to you, they're in trouble. Food.
Well,
they literally
can still
feed
pick
you.
the Lulu.
Not going to be Lulu that comes through. It's going to be Karma. Does similar things. I honestly don't like it.
No.
I'm just going to straight up say I don't like the Karma pick. To be fair to Arizona State, it is more aggressive. The Karma is more aggressive in laning phase than a Lulu can be, but will not do as well late game. We've seen many a game feature dead Karmas.
A lot of dead Karmas, I think, is what you mean, because she is very, very squishy if she's out of position and behind.
Yeah, she has no escape tool other than movement speed with her shield to try and get away. But if you have hard crowd control, which you have plenty of, you have all the movement speed you want, all the shields you want. If you're in Hextech Ultimatum, sorry, buddy, you ain't going anywhere.
No, you
other
are not.
than Gray Screen Simulator. So Breezy's going to have to play pretty careful on this champion, or they're going to have to be so far ahead that Karma is fed in 1v2s, right? Like, we've seen that kind of thing happen, too, where Karma can just get items, and she actually has a lot of damage for a support.
That's actually, when I do play support, I pick Karma, because her mantra Q, level 1, is devastatingly surprising to be hit by it, and especially with the bonus damage coming from the Spell Thief's Edge. Throw Ignite on there with your team stacked in a brush. It destroys all level 1 hopes.
Karma's pretty strong into the Tahm Kench, too. In lane, 2v2, she can just run at him with the movement speed, can dodge out Tongue Lash. She's not slowed anymore. There's no real worry, and she just uses W to root you up, and that can focus onto the Tahm Kench. Rather than trying to do all that onto Tristana, she just rocket jumps away or just gets eaten up. The Devour can come through to take her to safety. One way or another, I think the Karma is fine for lane, but I worry that if Arizona State doesn't get ahead, the Karma pick will specifically be one to let them down.
I agree with you.
Not the player, the pick.
No, the pick,
Just to be clear.
It is the Karma champion. But something I really, really want to talk about is 98us.
Hit me with it. Shyvana.
The Shyvana, the aggression coming right back out. How do you answer the Olaf? You can't crowd control him. Instead, you just fight him. And Shyvana is going to be one of those champions to do that. Going to run, press the attack, be dealing all that damage, gives them priority on Drakes, or at least you would hope so. And just the amount of resistance is going to come out of that. Shyvana getting the double hit from her Q, the constant damage with her burnout, percent damage when hit with the E. Another one of my personal favorite champions. I am super excited to see it.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
The team fight seems curious to me, Giadre, because if the Shyvana is going to help deal with the Olaf pick, I don't see the front line then remaining from UCLA being able to do anything to Arizona State. Because if you have Cho'Gath and he's there and he has ultimate and you have Cassiopeia, you're getting crowd controlled and feasted if you're anywhere near them. So if Shyvana's not creating havoc and being one of those champions that's just causing problems for ASU, and they have to focus her down because now if we're saying that's not the case because Shyvana's trying to also answer the Olaf who's running at your carries, things don't actually look that good, I think, for UCLA. I think you have to have your bottom lane, your Tristana specifically, be strong enough, bed enough, have the Tahm Kench be strong enough to deal with them at least together, just two of them, deal with the Olaf. Because if you spend any more resources on that back line, your front line just gets deleted. You have a choke out. True damage. Doesn't matter how tanky you are, if you get low enough, or even just right off the bat, he'll just take a chunk of your health away.
So then let me rephrase, because that wasn't what I meant.
Okay.
That wasn't what I meant to say. You have excellent points, and you are perfectly correct. What I meant was the speed in the jungle.
Okay, so early on.
Yeah, early on, the speed in the jungle, the ganks, if they find each other in there, going to be able to match that damage and maybe win the trades and force Olaf out and then get advantages in that way. Going to be able to gank just as effectively as the Olaf, and that was more what I was meaning, was the early answers, the early ganks and the skirmishes.
I think in Fog of War, in the river, in the skirmishing jungle situations, you're absolutely correct, Jihad.
Yes!
When it comes to ganks, Shyvana needs some time. Needs some specific things in place. Either red buff and a perfect flank, or a lot more vision control, or just tons of movement speed because she has the items for it. Otherwise, especially without her ultimate, her ganks are like, oh, hi there, right? And see ya, maybe next time. Like, I just walk, like, you literally just right click and you back away a little bit, and she's like, dang, can't get anything there, right? That's the gank potential of Shyvana early without you just like being completely out of position. Whereas Olaf, Predator, dude, he'll run straight through the lane and catch you.
And
so
it's gross.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, Jihadre. I think you're absolutely right. In terms of jungle v jungle, the skirmishing there is absolutely scary to deal with the Shyvana early, especially with red buff, especially in like the river where she can be a really, I mean, some Shyvanas will even go crazy into like sorcery with water walking and the movement stuff. Like you can rush people down. But let's get on to Summoner's Rift. This is Game 2. ASU took Game 1 very explosively. 40-plus minutes. The late game fights, triple inferno, crazy amounts of damage. ASU was just insane in Game 1. But now, it was still close in Game 1. Game 2 is on your screen. It could be match point for ASU. They have yet to lose a game in PACG.
And that is exactly where they want to stay. There's only one other team that is completely undefeated, and that is University of Utah in the other division. Wouldn't it be so amazing to see those two teams go completely undefeated and wind up in the finals together? It would be really beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, it would, Jihadre. I'm curious to see what the early game strategy is for these two teams. ASU has those aggressive picks, right? They want to run at you. They want to poke you down and fight you, especially in that bottom lane. They should have massive advantage. Now, the push, if they're not actually using their spells, could go in favor of Shinderu. But if the Varus and Karma want to use their spells, want to work together, they will outpush Tahm Kench Tristana, no problem, no questions asked.
Definitely.
And they can have the pressure to be poking with the Karma, with the Varus Qs underneath the turret. Those piercing arrows can do a lot of damage, especially when angled properly to not get reduced by going through things. So, I expect, especially with ASU having the early push in the bottom lane, they'll continue to press their advantage into that turret and try and suffocate Shinderu on the Tristana pick so they can't get to that late game. ASU should be trying to win the early game strong enough to get first items as soon as possible, and from there, be able to snowball like they did in Game 1.
Now, I'm a little sad for Olaf here. Look at how much mana he has left. Look at Shyvana. Doesn't use mana.
Resourceless champion.
Yeah. So, you know, it's more based on the attack speed here. The Undertow is going to turn into a lower mana costing spell, and that's going to be good. But the pathing here, I think that ASU needs to let Tristana push up a little bit, because you have your Predator, double buff Olaf ready to wind up on the bottom side of the map. Either that, or he's just going to go and solo that Drake.
Well, I think the idea is, because you start him on the top side of the map, because you know it's going to take him a little while to clear, that you're hoping you can get a good gank off in the bottom lane. But it seems kind of backwards in my mind. If you're planning to have your team push in, then either you're looking to invade, which looks to be what he's doing. Yep, on the way to ping. You're either invading because now you have the push in mid and bottom to back up that invade, or you're looking for those ganks. I like this choice. Going to steal away a camp, a very experienced, expensive camp, right? This is a lot he's stealing away from the Shyvana, actually, and will significantly delay Shyvana's ability to, I mean, what Shyvana's good at, you mentioned it, winning the jungle, right? She wins by getting so much experience very quickly by just wave clearing those camps very quickly. If she's got no camps to clear, she's in big trouble. Now, Baco might get spotted here because Shyvana's on the way, but he's still pretty healthy, and you have the push in from Shui and Breezy. It actually could be very difficult for Tristana and Kench to actually show
He
up.
did it. He got the whole camp. Now Baco is in position to make it out. Omewa and Kiskuku are there. There's a flash from Baco. Shui and Breezy are there to help him out. And you're exactly right. The only camp left on the bottom side of the map here is the Gromp. And let's face it, I think Shyvana's a little too scared to go in there. 98us.
Yeah, but
not
she
in a
does
good
have
position.
the position for this
For the gank. It looks like she misses the E there. Shui going to take a lot of damage there. You see it. Press the attack proc very quickly because her Q does count as 2 auto attacks.
Yeah, twin bite. Going to be clearing out that river. Just the Scuttler. It is level 1, 800 health. Falls very quickly. So you're hoping here, if you're a UCLA fan, that the Shyvana's getting a little bit back for herself. And by putting the pressure on the bottom side means that the CS numbers aren't going to fall too far behind for Shindero here and Kazuki on the bottom side of the map.
No. Now, Olaf is up in the top side, grabbing his, again, experience in gold-heavy camps. He's going to grab the Krugs. He's going to be able to grab the Raptors right after. 98us, though, wants to go in and try and find something in this side of the jungle. He is going to find the Gromp and take that, but the Wolves may be contestable because Baco is on his way. No, instead he's going to rush.
Actually,
is he going to gank? He's going to go into the gank. He does proc the Predator. Grounded is Batchet. He's slowed. He gets hit with the red smite. And now 98us is here, but first blood with the reckless swing. The undertow does land. 98us is probably going to have to flash. There's another undertow.
Has to.
Insane. Olaf just wrecking that early part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, reckless swings came through, and he does get first blood for his team. Nice play there. That was a good communication because Cassiopeia here in mid lane is saying, hey, I can take this fight. I can bait him in. And he uses the gap close to try and take the fight against Cassiopeia, and then Batchet is in a bad spot. Even with flashing away, he can't escape that kind of damage. Oh my goodness!
That was a fun little play. Flashing forward with the Q to land the ignite and auto attacks to make sure it was the most effective damage possible. Breezy looks to have...
Look at the turret health,
Oh, man. This is just like game number 1 Superman minus who got first blood.
Yeah,
That's the only difference so far because Shui and Breezy are just demolishing turrets everywhere, wrecking through bot lane ASU.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. The damage. It's almost gone now. Gallia's playing down to that bottom side. This is a gank in top lane. I don't think they'll actually be able to get Rebel Ribbon, but they can at least secure a really good base timing here for Cat on their roof. That's nice. If your jungler does that for you, that's where you just like start duoing with him in solo queue.
Oh, for sure.
If he's able to come up and just help you secure a very beautiful base timer, you know that he's a great jungler. So great communication up there. Batchet was playing down towards that bottom side because he wanted to use that ultimate. The aggression's coming through here from UCLA, but not enough. It's not going to make the difference.
They just want another back timer for themselves. 47 CS, going to be up to about 50 here for Omewa. Nope, I lied, 48. But that's going to be BF Sword, and that's good news. You know, just wanted to get that. So you shove out the Karma with the new improved damage on the rocket jump. It is instantly shielded and absorbed, but there it is. Not just the BF Sword, but a pair of boots for Tristana. That is really good news because of the amount of damage you get with it. Shui coming back with just the recurve bow, but another gank here. Baco is...
too much damage.
It's way too much.
He doesn't have the magic resist, so even though he has a health pool, there's still a lot of damage that can come through from this Cassiopeia pick. And of course, true damage and a lot of like chase you down damage that comes through from the Olaf with red buff. Like you just don't have the health for it. But let's take a look at the replay of what just happened there. You can see it's just that the Ghost plus Ragnarok is just like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Remember how I said the Shyvana might show up and be like, oh, hi.
That's
and then
exactly
walk away.
what happened.
Well, what Olaf does, he says, "Oh hey," and he just runs you down, and then you scream like some child because that's all you can do. That's all you got left. It's just the right-click away button, especially when your flash is still down. So Batch is going to fall 2 times now to those ganks in mid lane. This looks to be first break too, Juhad,
Yeah,
right?
probably. Shui is just so good at taking these turrets with Breezy here. And look at all that gold Breezy's taking. They just need one more auto attack. Shui gets the ultimate. They're going to go in on to Omewa. Really close here. Undertow. Baeko comes in. 3 out of 3 kills in the entire game. Kazuku is the next one, slowed by the Karma Q. Another Undertow. 4 kills for 4. Baeko.
Whew.
Wow.
He is one fed berserker. But here's really scary news for UCLA. You're hoping that Tristana can carry you through the late game. How is she going to live? If you got a 4-kill Olaf, 4-0 Olaf running at you, he's going to be a couple levels up over your 80 carry pretty much until late game. And he can just run straight at you every single time with Karma shields, no less.
That's going to be insane. An ulted Karma E on top of the Predator with the Righteous Glory is going to be the most terrifying thing third most terrifying thing I've ever seen in League of Legends.
Explain.
First, being ulted by Urgot. The chains literally scare me in my dreams.
Okay.
When you get hit and can be executed, chains
chains
come around your screen and it's horrifying. I hate it. It's not good. Number 2 was the old school Pharaoh Flare with a Master Yi at full build.
Shui is actually looking to get caught here though. Nope.
No, perfectly safe with Breezy. But yeah, third scariest thing is probably going to be the Olaf with that much movement speed running right at you and going to kill you. One thing I didn't like is how long UCLA is taking to make this swap. We can see Omewa is all the way down at the tier 2 and making his way to the top, but cleared a wave on bottom first. You're behind on the rotation there. And I think that they could have played that a little bit better on the side of ASU.
Yeah, and almost a full-on double CS lead in mid lane, right? That's a lot of gold. That's not just in the bottom side that's been crushing the got first turret. Not just the jungler who's now soloing the Rift Herald, but Cassiopeia is doing a great job in mid lane. That doesn't even have a real damage item at all. Just Tyr and Negatron both doing just fine controlling mid lane in a very convincing fashion. Like when without a damage item, you're controlling mid that hard, you know that you've gotten some jungle help.
Oh
this
boy.
Is an engage under the turret.
The ultimate coming from Galio is going to save Kazuku, in addition to the great health pop from that thick skin. But this is a minion wave plus the Rift Herald, and this turret's already low, Superman. It's going to go down with just the Rift Herald, and bang. Ah, darn it.
It's like 300 health.
Got me. Oh, but Kazuku tried to back in Vision. Kazuku tries to get the tongue lash. There's a Q. Breezy picks that one up.
Yeah, Shui with a nice sidestep, doesn't get hit by the tongue lash. Tried to get that kill for himself, but the skill shot will be enough. Breezy has plenty of damage. Frostfang completed. Frostking's claim not far off. I mean, I have the Watchers next in line, right? So, Vision absolutely in control. Look at the red Vision littering the
everywhere.
map. Now that they're done with top lane, you just replace those control wards wherever next you want. Probably around mid, so that you can get the next outer turret. The only one remaining. Short of that one death, this was all but a perfect game for ASU. And they're looking real clean here in game 2.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with just understanding now that UCLA has that similar of a style to them, so they needed to pick it up. They needed to get different champions, like the Olaf, which ganks a little bit faster, earlier, and better than the Kha'Zix does. Getting that huge shielding support in Breezy, because it's not just shields, it is movement speed, it is positioning tools, the burst coming from the Q, just the pressure that Karma can bring. I think we're going to have to eat our words here, Superman. Karma seems to be the better pick between it and Lulu.
I mean, it's hard to make that call. If Lulu was in this game, maybe it makes a difference, but they're going to at least try and take this fight. This is actually a pretty good fight for UCLA if they can catch them.
I like that they separated. Flash is burned. Now, in comes Baeko, but the kill does go onto Breezy first. A nice knock up there from Cat on my roof.
Whew.
And that's our first dead karma. Will we see more?
Yeah, eat your words.
I do eat them. Indeed, I do.
But that is precisely the type of pick you need if you're UCLA. In fact, even with Olaf thinking, oh, we're fighting? I love fighting. He actually almost died and had to flash away.
Shui is stuck here in the Hextech Ultimatum. A lot of damage from Rebel Ribbon, but the taunt is the thing that gets him. Batchet picks that one up, and Rebel Ribbon makes it out. There's another flash. UCLA, after being down so far, are not actually down as far as it seems. Look at these guys.
Yeah, essentially a 2 for 0. Bring the kill score closer, 3 to 5 now. And remember, the only really super fed guy for ASU is the Olaf, and he wasn't able to do anything in the last fight.
No.
He had to actually flash away, Jihadre.
Normally, a Camille engage that aggressive is going to leave you with a dead top laner and nothing else. But instead, it nets them an 80 carry kill and a couple flashes burned. Excellent work from Rebel Ribbon on this Camille. We were worried about it.
It's
but
been quiet so far, but now when it shows up, did a really good thing. Lucky that he was back there and Cat on the Roof didn't have Feast available. He had used it on the wave to get those stacks as soon as he can. Just used it again there, so he wouldn't have it for a fight anytime soon. But late game, that kind of positioning might actually backfire.
Oh, definitely.
Especially because she's going for Triforce, which most do, right? So it remains to be seen if the Camille pick will continue to do what we just saw, and if that will translate well to late game, or if we have to be worried that UCLA, or for ASU, if we have to worry that ASU will have too much damage and be able to, as I said, just insta-burst out the front line for UCLA.
And so those are the two champions that we need to watch, right? We were worried about the Camille pick, and we were worried about the Karma pick. So far, we were right about the Karma. You were right about the Karma. I thought it was doing all right. But we do see that really poor position there. Speaking of poor position, Bako is unstoppable. He is going to run away. Batchet wants to land the taunt, but the speed up from Breezy gets him out.
Now they don't have Ragnarok. For just half of a camp, they don't have that key ultimate here for a Mountain Dragon. ASU had already gotten the first elemental. It was an Ocean Drake a long time ago, but now it is going to be a Mountain. And though the vision is there for ASU, they might not have the spells necessary to take these fights.
Only a quarter of the cooldown not off. Breezy and Sui, though, get decent engage. It looks like Camille wants to stay there. Somehow Grounded does not affect the hook shot. Kuzuku gets the ultimate from Batchet. There's going to be a decent taunt here. 3 of them. Rebel Ribbon picks off Cat on my roof, but Bako is still there. Rebel Ribbon goes in, and this is the point where you have to say that that was not the right time to go in. That is a dead Karma, but it also is a dead Camille, feeding the Olaf even more.
2 for 2, but they have the inside track now. ASU going to take that elemental. I think that fight could have been played a little bit better if you're UCLA. I'm not sure this one's worth flash stealing.
No, it's not. It's a single mounted, but it looks like ASU doesn't want to risk it. All right, there we go. Luti is going to throw down the Miasma and save that. That second elemental to ASU. Looks like the next one is going to be a Cloud. We don't see a lot of combo Drakes. We see a lot of different Drakes per game, you and I, when we cast this, but except for last game. That's exactly what I was going to say. But now it's going to be 3 different Drakes in the first 20 minutes of the game, and that's weird to me. It's normal for this, but it's not normal.
Fair enough. I mean, okay, let's look. Olaf, 6 of his team's 7 kills. The last one on the support. Olaf has to be the one to make a difference in a fight for ASU, because otherwise, they're actually not ahead in just like the head-to-head matchup. Top lane, Rebel Ribbon's got a couple of kills. Close in gold overall because of globals plus the CS lead. But in the jungle, you can see that's the Olaf who's just massive. But Shyvana's still relevant in team fights.
Oh, yeah.
Mid lane, pretty close. You can see probably heavily in favor, actually, looking at it a little bit closer. For Cassiopeia, she's got 4 assists, no deaths. She's got a massive CS advantage. And the 2 turrets that her team has taken. 80 carries are pretty close, right? You want to see the Infinity Edge come through as soon as possible for Tristana to actually make a difference. Right now, it's just a wave clear. I think the fights are set up for ASU to win them, but what we saw in the river last time was them using key ultimate spells randomly and without cause,
So
then they didn't have them for the fight. If you had Ragnarok there on Olaf last fight in the river, can you imagine how well that would have gone for ASU?
Definitely.
So good.
Especially because he's unstoppable. That means no slows, no stuns, no knockbacks, no taunts. And he was slowed for a while, and he could have dealt insane amounts of damage in the time he was slowed, but he couldn't get onto a target. So you're exactly right. Extra damage, extra crowd control reduction. It would have been a completely different fight.
Yeah, and we have full wind-up Olaf build here, right? You just wait in the wings and then pop your Righteous Glory, Ragnarok, and Predator all at the same time, and all of a sudden you are a freight train. You cannot be stopped, and when you connect with someone, you will burst the crap out of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you're super tanky, so you can't just try and melt this guy. You could try, but
it's probably not
gonna
gonna
have
work.
trouble getting through the Karma shields. He's gonna have bonus attack speed and damage on hit from the Karma, who now has the Ardent Sensor.
Okay.
This looks to be a catch in the bottom lane.
He does get the ultimate onto 98us, but Rebel Ribbon has a lot of damage. Looks like Cat on Thy Roof is going to flash forward, burning the flash of Rebel Ribbon, but now it's a Cat on Thy Roof versus 98us. The red buff is going to slow him down, but the poison and the minions are going to secure the kill for Luti on the Cassiopeia. And then, so it's a 1-for-1 trade, but turret goes the way of Arizona State. Again, 3 outer turrets to 0, just like game number 1.
Yep, and that's going to mean that the gold lead is now about 5,000 or so, close to 6,000, I would say. Here, in favor of ASU, they're going to wave clear. That was a nice pick of sorts that UCLA got onto Luti here, but, or Luti, I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, because the H and the T are backward.
Yeah,
it's not a TH.
You have
weird.
to tell us, right? I use the sub, so I'm not actually familiar with his name anyway. But
yeah,
he was able to get a nice turnaround and buy enough time for Cat on the Roof to kind of show up. Cat on the Roof doesn't actually get the assist, and that's why Rebel Ribbon's like, okay, I'll execute the tower so that there's no assist pool, because there was one onto the Cassiopeia kill.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
In total, you get the gold from the kills was greater for UCLA, but they lose the turret mid because they don't have the pressure.
Yeah.
Kind of awkward. You want it to go a little bit cleaner here for UCLA if you can get that pick and maybe get the turret too in the bottom lane, then you trade at least and have the kill lead. But essentially they lose out in total gold traded for that play.
Yeah. I like the double Righteous Glory. So not only will Bako be running at you like a crazy person, but Cat on Thy Roof will also be just charging everybody. Looks like Breezy and Shui are trying to clear out the vision here, setting up for the Baron. They need to get up to the top side. There's one ward up there that is not spotted. All right, good news for UCLA. Oh, they dropped the ward there, the control ward. So all vision now is swept out. Bako takes a couple of auto attacks from Omewa.
They have an Ocean. They'll just heal it
Yeah,
back
they'll
up.
heal it right back up. Cat on Thy Roof does not have teleport, whereas Rebel Ribbon does. So this is actually an interesting spot that ASU is not ahead in. With the war onto Iron Bako, Breezy gonna have to dodge
Karma
out.
front line. You gotta be careful.
You gotta
You're
be
not
really
actually this
careful.
Olaf, right?
No, not at all.
You can be with him, but you have to play behind him because you don't have a way to get out for free like the Olaf does if you're Karma.
Yeah.
And the shields to help him get out, help your team get out, help your team be able to clear this vision, but you can't really do that on your own as Karma.
So what I think they want to do, I think they want to dance around the Baron, but I don't think they want to start it until...
No, they do. They got a Mountain and a Cassio. Why
Okay.
would you not actually just go for this Baron? This is the perfect play. Out of vision, and it's not exactly certain if they've started it, but now they're going to actually engage onto
boy.
Shyvana. Force
So-
that ultimate, and now you can consider restarting it if you feel healthy enough. Got the fruits. You should be totally fine to start it back up again.
Uh-oh, no unstoppable ultimate for 98us. Okay, so I was going to say wait until Shui has his Hurricane because he's got half the components. He's been farming a lot. And then you can stack that Rage Blade really quick. You've already got all the vision secured, and you're sitting there keeping it swept. But Mountain Drake plus Cassio, you already talked about it. Look at all this damage. It is melting. Vision is denied because of the control ward. And Luffy gets the ultimate, stuns up Kazuku, and now they might just want the fight. Do they continue? There it is. It is Galio. Batchet does manage to land taunt, but Shui is still pretty healthy. Omewa is going to get really low. He is ignited. There's the flash. They run right back into the hero's entrance, but look at all that damage. Batchet is in a lot of trouble here. Does go down to Luti, and the whole time, Baco is soloing out 98us, going legendary and throwing the penguin emote.
Ooh, this just hurts to see. The teleports are just too late. The idea is good, right? You know that they're going to go for that Baron, so Batchet recalls, gets super healthy, gets as many items as he can with the gold he has at that moment, and then waits to teleport. But ASU had cleared out all the Fishtons. You have no real good ward to teleport to, and by the time he was teleporting, his team was already way in trouble. And to teleport into 5 people, you've got to be batshit crazy, right? So that's exactly what happens there. He gets caught out, Tristana gets baited by it, and it's just, it all falls apart for UCLA. If you're going to contest that Baron, you have to actually have the Galio close enough to be using his ultimate to join the fight, not teleporting in and then ultimate. That's not the way you go about it.
So I think that they were trying the double teleport because we can see that Rebel Riven did use teleport, but against a Cho'Gath,
yeah, you get it canceled.
Never going to get that off. There are so many ways he can stop you.
Here's the thing. UCLA's composition is totally fine playing into what ASU has drafted here. Because what does ASU have to do? Run at you. They have to run through you, even. Who do you have? Galio. Galio just says, let me see you get in the middle of us, and then we just kill you while you're in the middle of my team because we don't take damage. But I've never seen that happen yet for UCLA in their team fights. They still have Shindero jumping away, scared out of his mind of Baco here. He's 8-0. Now you have to be scared to a point, but now that you have your items, if you get that damage reduction, now you have a locket too to keep you healthy and not die to the front end burst while you're waiting for heroic entrance to be ready. You should be able to take these fights, and you shouldn't play so scared that you're just conceding and then awkwardly taking bad fights. You need to actually play to your strengths, and they haven't yet. I need to see them do that.
Speaking of strengths, Baco, front line, they're going to 4-man this turret with that Baron buff. No way that UCLA can stop it here. Look at, so the Winds of War got a recent damage nerf, not able to help clear that wave too effectively. Still most hit points there on that cannon minion, and it's just going to chunk down this turret. There it goes. And the Baron power play right now is vastly, oh, holy, good grief. Baco is terrifying, but not as terrifying as that turret with a slow.
Yeah, we're at level 12 Tristana. She's got that additional range. She does have Infinity Edge and Static Shiv.
There it is, Rebel Riven.
Engage. Rebel
Riven going in with the Hexagold Ultimatum. It looks like Shui somehow stays alive for the first bit of it. 98us is going to go down next. Batchet is in the middle now. He's going to not die yet. Instead, it's Omewa. He's going to be rooted here. All the damage. Cat on my roof is going to pick that one up. And then Luti with the triple kill. Ace. ASU going for UCLA's base. Cat on my roof is so tanky, he doesn't even need the minion wave.
No, not at all. They're going to be able to melt this down. Remember that they have the Mountain Dragon as well. They can push for the win here, no problem. 20 seconds or so on pretty much everyone here for UCLA. This is only 26 minutes in. They're going to just at least look to take 2 inhibitors and likely back off afterwards. Although it could be pretty risky if it takes them too long. They could be overstaying if they're going for this inhibitor. They're not. They're going to back off. This is the smart play. You don't actually want to throw. You just want 5. It was 2 for 5, right? You got the ace. So take a look at this fight. Here's how it goes. They want to actually take this so they have Shyvana go straight in with Rebel Riven and the Galli Ultimate. Great idea. Unfortunately, they don't actually take down Sweep instantly. And here's the problem. The Karma's mantra shielding on everyone keeps them so healthy, and everybody locked down means the DPS, yes, we took out the Varus, but you didn't actually take out the Cassiopeia. She does even more damage than the Varus does at this point, because she's just been farming the whole time, Juhadre. She's up almost 100 CS on the Galio.
I think in addition to that, the closer you are to Cassiopeia, the more damage you're going to take from her. Because I think that, is the Twin Fangs a targeted spell, or is it a skill shot again?
It's targeted spell.
It is targeted spell?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I take it all back. It's no different being that close. But Cassio will deal more damage because of her kit. Just the fact that the miasma on the ground, it's all about poison and it's, you know, igniting the poison and everything. Just, I think you got to jump on Cassiopeia there instead of Shui.
You try and get them both.
Obviously.
You just don't have the damage yet from Tristana. I was watching that fight. He could really only hit tanks. Wasn't really hitting that hard, too. I think target selection was poor. I think when you have that much, the taunting, the knocking up in AoE, Tristana, you got to be in there. You got to be fighting, right? You can't take return damage at that point, so you need to actually melt squishy targets and get rid of them. But the turnaround from the Cassio ult into Cassio damage was just insane with the Karma follow-up. By the way, we're just in a pause here. It's not over. We're only 26, almost 27 minutes into the game. This was the Baron power play from Arizona State University. They're up one game, so this could be match point if they can close it out and close it out strong. They have a ton of gold up right now. Right?
Yeah.
The lead is massive. They've broken up the base. Bottom lane inhibitor turret have both fallen. Top lane inhibitor turret, but the inhibitor is still fine.
Yeah.
That's all in favor of ASU. It's looking real difficult because the execution isn't there for UCLA.
And we talked a lot about how much we liked their draft.
Yeah.
They did get a lot of good picks. We weren't so sold on the Camille, which, looking at the game right now, I'm still not quite 100% on it. But the Tristana as well was another question mark for us because we don't think that it's going to scale as well or be able to match the early damage of the likes of the Varus, the Caitlyn, and the Xayah.
Yeah. I mean, you hit everything on the head there, Jihadre, where the Tristana isn't that late game yet. She's down 40 CS, down the kills. I mean, Varus has 11 assists.
It's good enough.
That's plenty of gold, right? And he's up that CS, about 40 or so. So you're in control if you're Varus. You've got 3 items. Tristana's only got Static Shiv, Infinity Edge, and working on another Zeal item. That's not enough to deal with armor, health. I mean, probably 0 chance to 1v1 Olaf. That's a given. If you can't 1v1 the Olaf, then your team has to help you with that. And if that's the case, how are you going to actually damage other people? They have to be crowd controlling everyone. Olaf can't be crowd controlled. So it's just bad news all around for UCLA. Now, you mentioned the Camille pick. I actually am still okay with it at this point because they've been trying to combo it and have been, to a degree, pretty well. I think it's really just been the gold that has made it difficult for the comboing of heroic entrance into or
on top
of Hextech Ultimatum. That's a cool combo, and it almost worked really well in that last fight, but they just don't have the damage yet. I think if this lasts longer, UCLA's composition might begin to shine pretty bright.
And so that is the hope if you are a UCLA fan, is you hope that they can make it hold out. The last game was 41.5 minutes. We're at only 27 right now, so it is entirely possible. But with that bottom inhibitor down, this is what you do. You shove the naked inhibitor, and you have your big tanky Cho'Gath able to wave clear the whole thing, just kind of push the other one. Now he's going to join his team. That's a 5-man stack. No Baron buff. They lost it after they took the turret here. But there is no hope for a decent engage, I don't think. There we go. Nice silence. The grounded effect. No engage from 98us, but now there is. There comes the redemption down immediately. 98us is in the middle of everything. Cat on Night Roof is still almost full hit points. The fight goes entirely the way of ASU. That right there, 4 kills out of the 5 possible, and not one of ASU went down.
I think UCLA had 5 simultaneous keyboard malfunctions on just one key, and that's the R button.
Yep.
They have 5 ultimates available, Jihadre. Not one of them used them.
I believe Shyvana used hers.
It's off cooldown.
That was the engage, though. Either way, you are right. Nothing seemed to work there. I think that the Galio ult is too conditional. The ultimate from Tom Kench is really hard to use as an engage tool. There wasn't good enough engage potential for UCLA to take that, and instead it goes the way of ASU for a nice 2-0.
Yeah, let's take a look at the replay. I want to see how that fight went and why Galio didn't ult when they were diving the backline. Here's how it goes. Okay, so Shyvana ultimate is the one that comes through. There's a knock up onto everyone. So now Galio has to wait. The silence into it and the follow. Okay, so he just never had the opportunity. That's just, all right. I shouldn't be blaming UCLA and confused about it. I should have paid more attention to how perfectly ASU played that fight. I mean, that was a beauty to watch that replay because they negated absolutely everything. They say, Shyvana, oh, welcome to the backline. Welcome now to the death chamber. You want to try and follow that up? Sorry, there's a thing called silence knockup. There's a thing called Cho'Gath in your faces.
That took no damage.
Creature. Yeah, I mean, you said it. What does Cho'Gath do?
I'm going to quote you, free win.
That's what that fight looked like to me.
It totally was.
1v4.
Just
Cho'Gath.
Everything.
And we didn't talk about him the entire game. And then all of a sudden in the late game fight, we watched the replay. Oh, Cho'Gath 1v4'd in the sense that he made it so 4 people couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty unfortunate.
That's messed up.
For UCLA. That's a free win Cho'Gath if I've ever seen one.
Oh,
and it
for
wasn't
sure.
even the I feast your face. It was the, do you know what crowd control is?
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you.
And beautiful display from Arizona State University.
Yeah,
We had
holy.
questions. We had a lot of questions because we
did.
had only seen them one match. It was against one of those lower teams. But boy, did they show up.
They answered our questions.
A lot of them. Nope, I take it back. Every question. They answered all of the questions.
They answered all the aggression. They answered everything that UCLA wanted to do. They
Yeah.
said, you have a question about how to win League of Legends? Let me put on a clinic for you. This is our summer camp. That's what, oh, man. UCLA, we've seen them play so cleanly and so
yeah.
well and play to their strengths and do just fine. But they got demolished at every turn here. So, congratulations, ASU, bringing out 2 amazing wins in a row. They're still undefeated now. 2-0 match record. We're finally seeing more from them, more actual games.
Mm-hmm.
But they're undefeated. We'll have to see if they can match Utah's record. They're 4-0 match score, 8-0 game score.
Well, now we've
They're
got exactly
halfway there.
half. Exactly
halfway
half.
there. ASU coming up on the schedule too. Let's look at the standings even. Those top 3 teams. It's Utah up at the top, 4-0 match score, 3-1 Stanford because they fell to Utah last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then WSU. They're shortly behind there. But now they actually are going to be hotly contesting that position. It's going to be
definitely.
ASU looking to take one of those top 3 positions. If not, catapult themselves into contention for that top spot, Jihadre. Things look pretty crazy here. Week 5 now coming to a close.
Definitely. And the only reason WSU, I think, is still ahead in the standing there is because they played 3 matches.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would be Arizona State. Just fantastic play out of these guys. And, you know, we've talked about UCLA, about how good they were, how they were like week 3 when they first showed up.
Yeah.
And we were like, we know nothing about this team. And then, boom, they did really, really well.
Yeah,
and so
they
now
did.
to see them completely
And it was the late game,
answered.
too.
Yeah. It was, but I think with 8.5, the desire of what 8.4 was supposed to do is finally coming to fruition. Our games are less than 30 minutes, with the rare exception, including game number 1 tonight. And if you're not ready to play that style, teams like Arizona State are going to take you to only 2 games.
Yeah. You said it, Jihadre. I'm excited to see more play. Unfortunately, we have a week break. I'm actually so bummed.
Yeah.
Spring break is next for all sorts of schools, so we're taking the next week off in terms of our show. But don't forget, we do have more other titles coming up for the rest of this week.
Definitely. We are only on Wednesday. That means tomorrow, Thursday, there will be Hearthstone with, oh, wait a minute, this guy.
I'm going to be here casting some Hearthstone.
You're going to be casting some Hearthstone here, and then Friday will be Rocket League. So you're going to be able to finish out the week with some great PACG action. And like Superman said, we will be taking a short hiatus for a week during the spring break.
Then we'll be back for more League of Legends action, all the other titles too, coming in for week 6. I'm super excited because we're getting closer and closer to even to like rivalry week. It'll be the last week.
I didn't know there was a rivalry week until Monday, and I cannot tell you how happy I am about that. It's going to be all of those Oregon versus Oregon State, Arizona versus Arizona State, USC versus UCLA. Oh, my gosh, it's going to be great to watch.
Should be an amazing week of action. Again, we're still a while from that. We hope you'll join us tomorrow. He said it. Hearthstone, I'll be here actually casting it. So if you want to check out some Hearthstone, join us tomorrow. And it is at 7 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Pacific. So hope to see you there for some Hearthstone. Friday is Rocket League. Man, thanks for joining us. My name is Jake, Superman Casting, where you can catch me on social media, at Superman Casting. That's Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. I even have my website, supermancasting.com. Love to see you there.
I am Ben Juhadre Sorensen. Anywhere you see the name Juhadre, I'm the one and only.
Yeah, thanks for joining us once again. PACG returns tomorrow with some Hearthstone action. We'll see you then.